We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Hi folks, welcome to Secular View Shethinkers. We're finally live!
Yay!
Yay!
Technology is good.
Oh, technology.
When we use my laptop and not Dory's.
Yeah, I'm your host, Dory. This is Shayra.
Hi.
And Dirty Nerdy.
You can be a little more excited about that.
No, I'm just so
That's why I
irritated
said it. I'm
by
like,
technology.
heaven.
And we have Tiger Lily with us.
Yay!
Tonight's
Hi,
topic
Tiger.
is Halloween, which already puts me in a better mood, because I love
Yay.
Halloween.
It's true.
It is my favorite holiday.
Mine
by
too.
Far, the
And
best.
I had a great time today seeing Dory dressed up. What were you?
I was Vanellope, and Chris was Wreck-It Ralph.
And they were perfect. And I got to see you do
Oh,
the
I didn't get to see
wobbly.
I did the wobble with my
Oh,
kids.
the wobble.
What the hell is the wobble?
It's one of those
It's
line dance
totally
songs.
cool. It's
You're gonna have to do it for me.
All right.
Like tomorrow night at my
Okay.
sister's party because
Woot.
I get to dress up tomorrow.
all I know is that I've never seen Dory dance, and I go to this Halloween party tonight, and she does the wobble, and I'm like, damn, she's got some hip action going there.
Yeah, I've danced with Dory.
Yep.
I'm impressed.
So yeah, we're gonna have scary stories. Woo. Urban legends, and
Oh,
Dirty
I need to look
Nerdy
at
has
this.
a Halloween-themed story from her childhood.
Oh my god. Hey, by the way, on those scary stories, they're on my laptop, and I don't think we've pulled them up yet. I'll have to find them.
Oh well,
I'll do it
that's
during
what
the
commercials
commercial.
are for.
Yay!
Speaking of, Shethinkers is sponsored by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. That's SHETHINKERS, Shethinkers. They have over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Yay!
Yay! Seriously, it doesn't cost you any money. It helps us out, and you get to read without
Yay.
actually looking at a book. It's
Yeah,
kind
you
of
can,
cool.
like-
We get $15 as soon as you sign up.
Woo!
Yeah,
Like,
So-
instantly.
So just go do it, because it doesn't take any time, hardly, and it doesn't
get-
cost you any money, and
you
it
get
helps
a free
us.
book.
So
Yeah.
if you don't have the money to donate to us, just do that
And
at
then
the very
boom.
least.
Yeah, because this mic cost me like $30.
Ooh.
Ooh, the least amount that any of us have spent on this.
Hey,
I think we spend more on liquor.
wasn't there a
every
biblical
month.
story? Yes, we have. But isn't there a biblical story about, like, it doesn't matter how much you spend, it's how much you have to spend, and then you...
Yeah, but the Bible's bullshit. I don't
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
But that's actually a pretty good story.
It's a pretty good story, I
Except
think.
for, doesn't somebody die or something?
Someone always dies in the Bible.
Or is that a different story? I think I might be getting
I
my
don't know.
tithing
Worf is
stories
about
mixed
to
up.
kill me right now with a phaser, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we...
That does not make sense if anybody doesn't see the cardboard cutout in our nerd cave here.
Remember, this is all audio, Sharon. No
Ah,
one can see
sorry.
us.
So apparently, all of our trolls this month, or this week, are transphobic trolls.
Well, they're the new target because
That's
the
the
L
popular thing.
the L and the G are totally cool, man. Even George Bush Sr. is gonna go to a gay wedding, but the B and the T, they can go fuck themselves.
What
I-
are they gonna do if it's like a gay trans wedding?
Uh-oh. Bum, bum, bum.
I'm bi and
Hey.
trans, so I'm like a double.
Oh,
for
you're
them.
double whammy.
They're like, I can hate you twice as much.
What, Tiger?
Oh, I was gonna say you're like a walking aneurysm for these people.
Well, this is a Halloween special, so we're trying to scare people. I'm sure this would scare them very much.
Yep.
I'm
so
both.
spoopy.
Hey, conservatives, listen to this podcast.
Ooh.
We have a bi-trans person.
Oh.
And I'm the host.
And she's the host.
That is the scariest thing I've ever heard.
Yep.
We have a bi-ginger.
Woo.
Wait, what else? Oh, also.
Bi and genderqueer
Oh.
co-host. Woo.
Well, I call myself Pan, but
Oh yeah.
then nobody
Pan.
knows what that is.
Sorry.
They think I eat Peter Pan peanut butter or have sex with,
You're
cookware.
attracted to Pan.
Peanut butter, if you know what I mean.
That's clever. I've never heard
I
that
was gonna
before.
try to think of
Wow.
something else I am that conservatives would be scared of. I'm socialist. Woo!
I have more
Up
than one
for it.
sex partner.
That one's pretty scary. And
Tiger, what about you is scary to conservatives?
Oh, I am a polyamorous social democrat, and I'm Asian, so they.
oh, she does have.
Oh, and she's Asian.
She has the different non-whiteness.
Yep.
I don't know. what
Person
to
of
call
color?
it. I don't know what they call it these days when you're being bigoted. I'm trying to come up with
Racism?
No, the
No,
bigoted
what the bigots
person.
say.
Oh, what the?
What do they say?
What do
I
the
don't
bigots
know.
call it now?
I don't know. Tiger Lily, do you deal with bigots a lot that call you stuff?
Oh yeah, I actually just mentioned someone that Shayra and I know fairly well.
Oh, God, I remember
Yes.
Who likes to pull out the very unoriginal racial slurs on me, and I said that the one that I always really liked was Nuprin, and maybe that's like showing my not age, or
love
showing
it.
that I
I've never
grew
even
up
heard
with
that.
parents
don't
born
even know what
before
that
me.
is.
It doesn't matter. Okay, here's the thing you need to
Nuprin.
know about Lily.
Little, yellow, different, better.
Yep. And here's the great thing. She really is very tiny. She's a very, very tiny person. We've talked about the size of her feet and how tall she is. Go ahead and tell them so they understand the little part.
I'm 4'11", and like some other little bit that doesn't really matter that much. My shoe size is smaller than Kaylee's shoe size. Yeah.
I think you and my mom are the same size, actually.
I'm a 4 in women's, but in women's shoes, and usually I just wear kids' jeans and kids' shoes, but it's really hard to find stuff that's like interview appropriate that doesn't have fucking Hannah Montana on the back of it or whatever.
So
Or
she's
like
very
Dora the
tiny.
Explorer, or like it seals with Velcro.
So she's Nuprin. And I love this because I found this great YouTube video that mixed Wayne's World and Breaking Bad talking about Nuprin. So we have Wayne's World
So
talking
good.
about Nuprin, and then we have Breaking Bad, and he's like, "This is not Nuprin," and he throws this thing, and it blows up, and the drug dealers are all like, "Oh my gosh!" And it's just like the greatest video on YouTube ever. So
I remember that scene in Breaking Bad.
I'm sure you do. So they splice together the Wayne's World and the Breaking Bad. It's my favorite YouTube video right now
Awesome.
because of what she calls herself.
All right, so we're all pretty scary to conservatives.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I'm scared
okay.
in other ways. Hey, my fiance is running as a Democrat in District
yeah.
63
Oh my
in
God.
Texas.
Hey.
Democrat in Texas. Oh, and here's my favorite thing. I just have to say this, and this is I'm gonna. I hope this never gets out there, but the person he's running against totally looks. If you've ever seen 30 Rock, okay? Have you ever seen 30 Rock?
Yeah.
30
Yes.
Rock? Yes, I've seen 30 Rock.
Okay, you know the page.
Oh my God,
That is who Daniel's running against.
that's awesome.
He looks exactly like the page on 30 Rock.
If Daniel weren't running, I would probably vote for that guy. Just 'cause-
Because he looks like him. It's so funny. Like we were putting pictures
Actually,
side
I
by
wouldn't.
side, and it's
I always vote not Republican.
yeah.
That's who I vote for.
But yeah,
The not Republican
I'm with
Party.
someone who's a Democrat running in Texas. So
Unless they're libertarian. I pretty much vote not Republican and not libertarian. That's what I do.
that should be a whole other episode.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Not
All
libertarian.
right,
So our first
segue
Yes.
time.
our first
Segue. We have to do our Job moment.
segue. So our fans might remember that last week we talked about the fake trans story that got put out about a transgender student
Oh, yes.
harassing cisgender people in the
Those
bathroom,
damn
which was
trans people.
totally not true.
I saw
Well,
another news article about this week, and I wish I could find it and remember who said it, but somebody who was like still supporting the group that lied about it was like, well, there are these stories out there, and we were just using it as a representative of those.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
that's
God.
actually
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Actually, that is Pacific Justice Institute is the one that manufactured the story, basically.
So it's like,
and they have the worst.
Can't find an actual
They
story
have the
of
worst
it, so we're gonna make one up.
non-apology ever in here.
Oh, I
That's
love
reading
non-apologies. Hey, FYI, there's a great article on secularview.com. You can check it out. I wrote it, and it is about how to give real apologies. And maybe you can go and check this article out while we're talking and figure out how much they got wrong in their non-apology. So go for it.
Okay, let's see. I'm just going to read some highlights. So it starts out with, it is our position that the intrusion of a biological male, I already hate you.
Oh.
What does that mean? You know what it means? Has a penis. That's all.
Yep.
When they say biological male, all they mean is has a penis. When
Yeah.
they say biologically female, all they mean is does not have a penis.
Yeah.
That's all anyone means when they say that.
What do
That's
they
all
say about
anyone means when they
hermaphrodites?
ask about surgery. It's
Yeah.
the dick question.
Do you have a
Yep.
penis?
The dick question.
Let's see.
Is it because they're a dick, or is it because they're asking about your
Oh,
dick?
this gets even funnier.
both.
The core of this story, that the school is elevating the rights of one self-proclaimed transgender student
Ugh.
while minimizing the rights,
Self-proclaimed.
while minimizing the privacy rights of all the biologically female students has not been seriously controverted
Here's
because
my
it's
thing.
a non-issue.
Wait. Why is it an issue for them? For the biological, I'm using scare quotes out there.
Scare quotes.
For the biological girls to have to undress in front of other biological girls, but it's suddenly a privacy issue if it's a trans woman.
Because boys have
No.
sex with girls and
Because
girls have
penis.
sex with boys.
Duh.
Because it was a huge deal for me when I first started having to dress out in gym. I had horrible anxiety. I couldn't do it. I would wait for all of them to leave and take a really short shower, or I would do it. Or
I
change in
learned
the
a special
bathroom.
technique on taking off and on my bra that went underneath my shirt so nobody had
Oh, yeah.
to see.
I figured out eventually how to get dressed and undressed without others seeing me, but the shower was completely open. Like,
See,
you
I
couldn't
just-
take a shower without everybody else seeing you. And
I
that
didn't
made
have
me
an open
uncomfortable.
shower. At where I was
But-
at, we had this like star structure where there was walls on either side, so you had your own private
No, it
shower
was
with a
just
curtain.
these showers.
So
And it was like a big room with showers.
I apparently went to a school that understood
But
that
here's
you
my
don't
thing.
want to be naked around anybody you don't know because it doesn't matter what
Especially
your
when
gender
you're a
is.
teenager, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Let
what
me have my privacy while I'm naked, thanks.
The school did not give a shit about my anxiety undressing in front of all the other girls.
People. Yeah.
In
People.
front of anybody, really.
It doesn't
But
matter
suddenly
what
it
your
matters if
genitalia
it's-
is.
Suddenly it matters. Their privacy matters suddenly if there's a trans woman in there. Fuck that.
It is
No.
bullshit.
Well, and this isn't even a locker room. This is a bathroom.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
where you
there
have
are fucking
stalls and doors.
stalls, dude. Like,
Yeah. I think it's only guys that really pee in front of each other with their urinals, and even
and if
then,
they don't want to do that, they can go in a stall.
Right.
And I
They
think-
have stalls in
I
there.
think
There's
most
options
trans men
and choices.
are gonna be using the stall anyway.
Unless they have an
typically.
STP.
Unless they have the that's true.
Yep.
I just
Stone Temple Pilots.
For those who don't know,
Yeah.
STP stands for a stand to pee device.
Yeah, I know, but
But,
I love the Stone Temple Pilots joke. It's too much, but it ages me. That's the only problem.
It can be as simple as like a slightly altered medical spoon, or they have some that actually look like dicks and function as packers.
That's
So,
awesome.
yep. The wide, fun world of packers, apparently.
Yay, technology
You
and
know,
science.
Whoever's
Yay.
gawking at you really wants to see it. You know,
You're like,
can,
yeah,
you
this
can
is
have
my
your
big
dick.
thing that I'm peeing out of.
I always thought it would be funny if you just got like in like super neon colors just to freak out the person
Oh.
Why are you looking at
Bedazzle
me?
it.
Bedazzle it.
next to you. Bedazzled dicks.
Well, then he can be like, "Why were you looking?"
Exactly. Did it
All right,
dazzle you?
so
So yeah, they basically their whole non-apology was like, well, yeah, we made the story up, but it's okay because trannies are gross. So, you know, fuck you.
those guys are assholes. But yeah, the person I was and I cannot remember where it was, but they basically said because we couldn't find a real story, we were justified in making up one.
You're
I
like,
don't know if it was
no,
it
dude.
wasn't a spokesman from the actual group. It was just somebody who supported them. And I'm like, no, you don't get to just make something up. when
Yellow
reality doesn't
journalism.
fit your narrative.
Well, they're pretty certain that they do.
Anyways, what's this week's troll?
Another troll that we have is there's like whatever the European version of American Idol is. I don't know. I'm being a stupid American right now, but they have this huge contest that's super popular, and I think each country submits a singer, and then there's like a big
Eurovision?
Yeah, Eurovision.
Oh, look at Tiger Lily.
Thanks, Tiger Lily. Yeah, so Eurovision. Austria has a trans singer who's representing them, and not just not just trans, but like genderfuck. Like, she looks female, and then she's got a full beard, and like, it's kind of badass. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Austria. I'm sorry. I'm like, Shara and Daniel know. I'm like all about Austria.
Yeah, apparently she's renowned for her bearded lady look.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So, hooray for Austria, because that's pretty cool. I don't know how she sounds, because the show hasn't started.
Can I read this quote?
Sure.
So, the reason we have trolls is because Belarus has called for Eurovision to be edited or canceled so people don't have to witness a trans singer. They submitted a petition to have it. A petition was launched saying Austria's choice of Conchita Wurst is offensive. The petition reads, "Thanks to European liberals, the popular international contest, which is to be watched by our children, has turned into a hotbed of sodomy."
What? Okay, why does trans equal sodomy?
I don't know.
Because...
And what do children have to do with it?
Because penis. I keep telling you.
I mean, children shouldn't be watching Eurovision in the first place, but...
But here's the other thing.
Oh my
I'm
God.
pretty sure
They
that
might see a woman with a
heterosexual
beard.
people have. Well,
I'm gonna
okay,
say
sodomy. Okay, here's the
Straight
thing.
people
no,
do
no,
it
no.
in the butt, too. Just
No,
saying.
no, no. I have to point this out because this is a very common misconception. Sodomy is not just butt sex. It is oral sex.
Oral
if you put a
sex.
Yep.
dick in your mouth, that's sodomy, you fucking assholes.
Woo!
That's
Get
what
it through your head.
That is what it was legally defined as. when it was
Exactly.
illegal.
So if you're
What if
sucking a dick or if you have someone sucking your dick, sodomy bitches,
What if you
you're
have a pussy
gay
in your
now.
mouth, or do they not care?
I don't think that
You have a
matters.
clit in
It's
your
all
mouth,
about
they don't-
penis,
No,
remember?
because it has to be penetrative, remember?
Right.
Ha ha.
Otherwise, it's not real sex. I mean,
I
that's
can
why
give
lesbians
somebody-
don't
All about
have
the
real
penis.
sex.
I can give someone so many orgasms without any penetration.
Yep.
So.
Is it like the 40
That's
days
why you're
the
devil
40 days
magic,
thing
and-
where he
and
puts a feather
that's
on
why
the
I'm
woman?
here to explain how to devil magic.
Double magic.
It's my lesbian devil magic. Is
Yep.
that what you just said?
Or what is it? Vagina devil magic?
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
yes.
Double
My
vagina
vagina
magic.
devil magic is so strong, I don't even need a vagina to cast it.
Yes.
Do you roll? Oh, I was gonna make a D&D
Oh.
joke, but that would probably be
I don't know that we really need to talk about these guys anymore. They're already pretty ridiculous.
Right?
Well, okay, and here's the thing. One of the things that I found most interesting is that if you go on an international level, beauty is very differently defined. So I would think that they would just get over it, just a little bit, just a tiny bit, just get
No.
over this idea. But and also, I would like to also point out, someday I'm going to have to deal with facial hair. I know I am because of my genes. The women in my family deal with facial hair on a massive scale, so that's going to be something I have to deal
being
with
human.
anyway. And it has nothing to do with me being manly or womanly. It's just,
I pluck hairs on my chin.
it's a
It's
thing
like
that
weird.
women do.
It's just like 2 or 3 that keep coming back.
Oh
so
no,
I
you're
just pluck
totally a
them.
dude now. You must have a penis, apparently.
Yep.
Like, what
Yep.
is their problem?
Pretty
Women
soon you'll
have
have a
facial hair.
full-blown
Sorry,
Gimli
do I have-
beard.
Can you check for me?
And it's gonna
I'll
be
check later.
beautiful.
Seriously, okay, I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but women and men grow hair.
Oh my god.
No way.
What?
OMG.
It's so crazy, but it's true.
Oh, apparently I'm a man if I don't shave my legs too. I had a friend in high school that I had a guy friend in high school that seriously, like, if I was wearing pants, he would reach over in class, lift up my pant leg, and feel it. And I was always thinking like,
Ew.
what the fuck,
Excuse
dude?
you.
But I was the chill girl back then, and so I was like, ha ha ha. I would just laugh it off, you know.
I
glad I'm not like that
I was
anymore.
called out by a youth pastor at church.
Why are you looking at my legs?
Right. I was called out for not shaving because my mother had something against shaving. She thought that if you shave, then all of a sudden you're going to grow, like, really dark hair
Oh
and
my
all that
god,
stuff.
I heard that so much.
I know,
Yep.
it's a very common misconception. But anyway, she was worried about that, so she wouldn't let me shave at a certain age, and I went home crying, because he called me out in front of everyone, and was like, well, you don't want to have hairy legs like her, do. And I'm like, the youth pastor said this at a church. And I was devastated. We never went back to that church, obviously, but
Good.
yeah, apparently if you're to be a good girl, you're supposed to shave your legs.
You know, there are some churches where you're not allowed to shave your legs.
Because
Oh my God.
Standard.
Who was it? Is it Jerry DeWitt who used to be? I think it was Jerry DeWitt that I heard this from. I can't remember what it's called, Church of Christ.
So they were
or
true
whatever,
feminine.
where they're like super. Each church is like really, really conservative, but then again, each one you go to is kind of independent from the others of that type, so they all have slightly different rules. And he remembers when he was a pastor, he had this woman come to him in the congregation, and she was really upset because there were some women, they were doing like this inter-community thing, so she was actually from a different church, but it was the same denomination, and she came to him like really upset because the women at her particular church where she was were pressuring her to not shave her legs. But she had grown up believing that it was okay to shave your legs. Like, what? That's fine. And she honestly felt like she was dirty if she didn't shave her legs. Like, she was scrubbing her legs raw to try to feel clean again. Because she hadn't shaved her legs in like 2 weeks.
I actually understand that. I hate having hair.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I understand that. Eventually I'll get to the point where I'm like, my legs,
Mhm.
they feel dirty now, even though they're clean. And so I shave them. But I hate shaving so much that I wait as long as possible.
That's not even a girly thing, because Daniel does the same
Yeah.
thing. He cannot stand having hair.
So I'm
Well, like, swimmers have to shave everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna unleash on our trolls.
Okay,
real
go
quick.
ahead and
Oh.
unleash on our trolls.
I have a special
Got so many trolls.
someone to take care of our trolls this week in honor of Halloween. It's the scariest motherfucker in all of cinema.
Oh dear God.
Oh, you want it, don't you, Georgie? Oh, of course you do. And there's cotton candy and rides and all sorts of surprises down here. And balloons, too. All colors.
Do they float?
Oh, yes. They float, Georgie. They float. And when you're down here with me, you float down!
Ah!
It's my favorite drag queen.
I'm gonna say, just in case you're not aware, Tim Curry plays Pennywise the Clown.
Mm-hmm.
So the same dude who's Frankenfurter is the most terrifying character in all of cinema.
I actually wasn't aware of that.
Yep.
You
Yes.
weren't?
No.
Oh
I
my.
didn't know
Okay,
that was
I have a
Tim
huge
Curry.
crush on Tim Curry. Like, I've always. Oh,
Toxic love.
I am so in love with this guy. Like, he's done every character I've ever loved, even the most scariest character, which is Pennywise. But he also did a pirate with the Muppets for Muppet Treasure Island,
Mhm.
and actually had a singing number, and I just love him. Tim Curry is the greatest.
I haven't been able to watch it since I was like 8 years old.
It's pretty scary.
I can't watch it again. I just can't.
I haven't seen it in like a decade, and when I was looking up a drop to use for the show, like, my heart was fucking racing watching these clips.
Just an FYI, there is a haunted house nearby that is all like clowns and circus
Nope.
themed.
No.
It's not like
Just so
clowns.
you know.
Even like scary clowns or whatever, it's just Pennywise. Like, Pennywise freaks me the fuck out.
Well, one of the things I like to say to people whenever they're like trying to make you join their group or do a cult thing, I'm always like, we all float down here. That's my go-to. That's my line for you. Like,
We
I don't
all
want to
float
float
down
down there.
here.
Like, leave me alone. I don't want my boat to float. That's a newspaper.
Whatever
little
floats
boat.
your boat.
Poor Georgie.
All right.
All right, let's talk about
Bosses.
now.
So,
Woo.
gay marriage is legal in New Jersey now.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm
Even
excited.
though Chris Christie tried to, like, I don't know, change his mind at the last second or something.
Yeah.
But he
Well, he
withdrew
just
the
said,
appeal.
never mind. I don't care to fight it anymore.
Yeah.
After it went through. He's like, meh.
I didn't lose, I just threw in the towel.
Yeah.
I remember looking looking at his like justification for it was that the state would lose on appeal.
Yeah.
And so he didn't want to waste the money and time on it. But he still blamed it on activist judges and said he still technically believed it should be left up to the people.
Oh yeah, that's what I love. Is he's like,
like
judges that are overruling the majority. That's what the judges are there for.
Yeah.
That's how the checks and balances
That's one of
work.
the checks and balances, dude. Is so you don't have tyranny of majority.
No,
Hey, the majority can't tell the minority what to do because of those judges. Boo. Okay, well that's how it works. So
I
get
just
over
want
it.
to say
That's
that
the point.
I don't think conservatives are going to be happy until we just overrule Marbury v. Madison. But if we do, if the courts ever overrule Marbury v. Madison, then that'll be like a crazy contradictory time loop that will destroy the universe.
It's like dividing by zero.
Yeah, using the courts to overturn the very case that established that courts get to overturn things.
It's divided by zero. It's the political equivalent of it. Or the legal equivalent of it.
So
but
that's-
I want to say this. A friend of Lily and I's, he owns a sandwich shop in New Jersey, and he is gay. And he had someone come to his shop talking about those damn gays and stuff. And he was like, do I kick him out of my shop? Do I do this?
No,
or do I sell him the damn
First you
sandwich?
take his money, and
then
then you
kick him
kick
out.
him out of your shop.
We don't want to discriminate here.
Not like some certain people. Oh, that's the perfect segue for our next boss, which is The Daily Show,
Yay.
who got a racist asshole fired by having a camera. Like, that was
Yay,
their
camera.
tactic.
Oh man. Do we
So,
have video?
yeah, we've got the segment. Here we go.
Yay.
Saying enough's enough. I mean, why ruin a good thing by continuing it? Asif Manvi reports on how states have responded.
The Voting Rights Act of 1965 protected voters from racial discrimination until June, when the Supreme Court struck down a key provision saying it was no longer necessary, which red states celebrated by introducing brand new, now constitutional, restrictive voting laws.
These laws are just as racist as they can be.
Congressman John Lewis apparently doesn't like progress.
In another time, in another period, these devices was used to make it harder, make it difficult for the average person of color to participate in the process.
I don't think any part of the law is racist.
North Carolina Precinct Chairman and GOP Executive Committee member Don Yelton thinks his state's new voting restrictions are just fine.
What's going to happen as a result of this law, the process is going to have more integrity. Right here in Buncombe County, there's always one or two that voted twice a year. They don't know
One or 2 million people?
No, one or two people.
And that's one or two out of how many?
That's just one or two out of 60,000.
So statistically, there is enough voter fraud to sway 0 elections.
That's not the point.
The point is, the voter fraud does just barely exist, while racism, according to the Supreme Court, is a thing of the past.
The scars and stains of racism are still deeply embedded in every corner of the American society.
Yeah, but you're just talking about racism as if it's like the 1960s, and it's not the 1960s anymore. I think the men in this picture would be ashamed that you're just throwing around the word racism so cavalierly.
I'm in that picture.
I'm there.
See, this is why you people need IDs, because we can't tell you apart. I mean, civil rights.
Oh,
We
what?
all don't look alike.
But you know what you all have? You all have the same aura of hope.
We never gave up. We never gave in. We never became bitter.
Isn't that Denzel Washington?
No, that's Roy Wilkin. He was the head of the NAACP.
The bottom line is the law is not racist.
Of course the law's not racist, and you're not racist.
Oh my god. The face.
Well, I've been called a bigot before. Let me tell you something. You don't look like me, but I think I've treated you the same as I would anybody else.
Right.
Usually, if you've been called a bigot before, you probably are. Especially,
Just saying.
especially if you're an old white guy. Just saying. All right.
Matter of
wait.
fact, one of my best friends is black.
Are you really pulling out the I have a black friend card?
No, one of his best friends.
One of my best friends is black and puts up with my bullshit.
Wow.
Oh, it only gets better.
It hurts.
Oh.
So one of your best friends
One of my best friends.
is black.
Yes.
And there's more.
When I was a young man, you didn't call a black, you called him a Negro. I had a picture one time of Obama sitting on a stump as a witch doctor, and I posted that on Facebook. I was making fun of my white half of Obama, not the black half. And now you have
How it works.
a black person using the term nigger this, nigger that, and it's okay for them to do
Wait,
it.
can we pause? Pause.
Oh my God.
Wait. I would like, Lily, I would like you to weigh in on the, I made fun of the white part, not the black part, therefore I'm not racist. I want to hear your opinion on that.
I actually can't hear the clip that you're
Oh,
playing.
shit.
Okay.
It's terrible.
Okay, but I want to say.
but I've seen part of it before, so I do know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure to which part you're actually referring.
He basically says,
I
when he
wasn't
was
making fun of the black part of Obama. I was making fun of the white part of Obama.
I want to know your opinion on that.
Separating it out is so racist.
Because he's a fuck ass. I mean, that's like, plain and simple.
All right, you heard it here first. He's a fuck ass.
This just in. You're a fuck ass if you do this.
We like to keep our journalistic integrity here.
You know that we can hear you, right? You know that we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Then I found out the real reason for the
Wait, it could end there.
All they
And I'm
need
happy.
to do is just like
You know we can hear you, right?
give an old white guy a mic and just tell him to start talking for a while. Just let him keep talking, and eventually all this shit will fall out.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
law.
The law is going to kick the Democrats in the butt.
Wow! An executive GOP committee member just admitted that this law isn't designed to hurt black people, it's designed to hurt Democrats.
If it hurts a bunch of college kids that's too lazy to get up off their bohunkus and go get a photo ID, so be it.
A photo ID.
If
A photo ID.
Oh my god, you think people who, most of them have a job as well as go to school, like most college students today work at least 20 hours a week. And
At
then
least.
at least 20 hours
Usually
a week.
more.
And then they also go to school.
And
full
then they
time.
have homework.
And then they have homework and study time. Like,
But they're
It's
just a
not
bunch
laziness.
of entitled little kids who don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
it's not laziness
clearly.
that keeps them from going to get a photo ID. And you know why they don't already have a photo ID? Because a lot of college kids can't afford a car. So why would they have a license?
Mm-hmm.
That and, they already have a photo ID. Oh, but you don't accept college IDs.
Yeah, but you'll accept the fact that
Swang,
people
wang, wang.
own guns
Yep.
as an ID.
People don't need you don't need photo ID to buy a gun. Buying guns isn't dangerous. Voting is dangerous.
Especially if you're a woman or a Democrat or a young person.
Yep.
Or a person of color.
Yep.
Oh, yes,
With a
that
snapper.
too.
Or if you're all of the above.
All of the above.
Oh my gosh, if you could be all of the above. What are you, Lily? Are you all of the above?
Yeah,
No.
probably.
You're very dangerous.
Another scary
I am
person
dangerous,
for
and the most dangerous thing is that my all of the above, it changes.
This is a very spooky.
Ambiguity.
This is a spooky episode.
Yep.
I don't mean to scare
You're
you, but there's
spoopy.
Pennywise and Lily.
So wait.
It's fucking crazy.
Oh,
out
wait,
here.
this dude is still gonna keep putting his foot in his mouth.
Oh,
dear God. Okay, go
Is he
ahead.
one of those hole diggers that just
Yep.
keeps going until
Remember,
he reaches the other
kids,
side
the
of the
first
planet?
rule of getting out of a hole is to stop digging.
Yeah, it's true.
Hurts the whites, so be it. If it hurts a bunch of lazy blacks that wants their the government to give them everything.
Did you actually say that?
So white people are just white people. Black people
Or
has-
lazy black people.
Lazy blacks,
Oh,
not even black
God.
people.
There's whites and there's lazy blacks. That's all there is.
Oh god.
It's not just black and white. It's white and lazy black.
Oh my god.
That's all there
this
is.
is only gonna get worse.
Oh my god.
Those
So many
people
feet in his mouth, he's approaching
vote
a
Democrat.
marathon.
Gee.
That's right. To supposedly prevent 1 or 2 cases of fraud, this law could suppress hundreds of thousands of actual voters.
I can't believe we got that many stupid people in North Carolina. And people that don't know how to follow directions and go down there and get a photo ID for free at the DMV.
For free?
Do you want those people picking your president?
No, we certainly don't want stupid people picking our president. Or Democrats, apparently.
Apparently.
Racism is over. Yes.
It's not there yet.
No. Oh, okay.
Everyone should have the same opportunity to vote.
So the playing field should be level.
Must be leveled. The playing field must be leveled.
Well, since Republicans are trying to suppress Democratic votes, perhaps the only fair way to level the playing field is to try to suppress Republican votes.
Do a lot of Republicans come in here? No.
All right, wheel it in. Move voting booths to black hair salons. And here.
And Planned
Add mandatory
Parenthood.
friend requirements. Tell
Is that
Republicans
legal?
to do what Jesus would do.
I want
And
to pause this. Are we legally allowed to set up vote Democrat booths at Planned Parenthood, at black barbershops, at all these places?
No, it's not vote Democrat. It's just saying move the voting.
Moving
Right,
the
yeah,
voting
move the
booth
voting
itself.
booth itself.
Oh.
I don't know what. if
Like
it is
where
legal,
you
but-
vote.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
If
was
it's
actually,
legal to,
but I would
if it's
actually
legal
like
to put them in a church, I don't know why it's not legal to put them in a Planned Parenthood.
True, but I there are
Religious
a lot of
privilege?
different things that come up with it. Can we go around and get people? Can we just go to these places and be like, "Hey, vote"? Because the only reason why I ask is we're in Texas, all right? Let's be honest, we're in Texas, it's very Republican. You have to go to particular locations to look for Democrats. You have to
Yeah.
actually seek them out. I'm only figuring this out because Daniel's running now. You have to actually seek out Democrats. Is it legal for us to just go to places where Democrats most likely are hanging out?
Yeah, that's
And
legal.
be like, hey, vote.
Remember, most importantly,
Vote. 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 Because I voted, and now I'm gay. That's right, Republicans. Voting makes you gay.
Voting does make you gay. Totally
Awesome, Monty.
does.
We'll be right back.
I think we need to spread this message more. Voting makes you gay.
Yep. Be gay, everybody. Go vote. Especially in Texas, there is actually a vote going on right now.
I'm just curious, Lily.
Yes.
Do you vote?
Yes, I do.
Did it make you gay?
I'm thinking now it may have. I may have to re-examine my whole life now because of my voting history.
There's a direct correlation between casting a vote and eating pussy. You've heard it here.
I mean, absolutely. I've probably gone around the horn a couple times, and maybe I'm just now like back on my cycle of straightness, and I'm just it only was going to take one more.
I would like to say that until this year, I've only ever voted during the presidential elections, so like every 4 years. So that's why I'm just bi.
Yep.
It only halfway affected me.
If you vote in local elections, then you just go like full on
Super
lesbian.
gay.
You're super gay. You're gonna.
I must have transcended the sexuality spectrum because I voted in 2 states because I went to school in Los Angeles, but I still voted in my home state, which was back east, and very, very Democrat. Once upon a time was red, but now is a Democrat state. So, yeah, then I was in the national elections, too, so it's...
So you're bi.
I mean, I may as well be everywhere. I probably have a third eye growing, and
So you're polyamorous and bi as far as your voting record is concerned.
Probably, yeah.
Awesome.
And some people out there are probably wondering why this is under Boss of the Week and not Troll of the Week. Well, apparently dude got fired.
Yep.
So the boss's Daily Show.
Yeah.
The boss's Daily Show for getting a racist asshole fired by pointing a camera at him and letting him talk. That's all that they did.
That's really hard work. You don't know how hard it is to get stupid people to talk to a camera.
Like, how dare you get him fired? All we did was say, hey, what are your views on black people? And, you know.
And
I
then
can't believe
talk.
that the first thing he pulled out was, I have a black friend.
One of my best friends is black.
I'm surprised he didn't say is a black.
I'm not really that surprised because I still hear it all the time in, like, any discussion of any other type of rights, so...
I've been used as somebody's token trans friend before.
Gross.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Ew.
I feel dirty. I need to take a shower now.
Did you join the conversation and be like, I'm no longer your trans
Yeah,
friend?
I'm no longer your trans friend. You're on your own.
It's like, you don't have a trans friend anymore. Stop doing that.
Well, okay,
I'm not
here's
your
the thing.
token tranny, dude.
Here's the thing. If you're actually like, hey, my friend is trans, and here's why you're being a bigoted asshole, that's different than saying, my friend is trans, therefore I'm going to say a bunch of bigoted bullshit.
Although, I would just prefer that you're like, you're being a bigot.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
It is true.
Don't drag me into this conversation, please.
I mean, I might be able to understand something like, oh, I have a friend who's trans, and they explained it this way.
Yeah, that would be
But
acceptable.
not,
And that's
I have
generally
a friend
how I
who-
do stuff.
Who's trans, and so
But
I'm right.
Also, with
No.
Dory being my quote-unquote trans friend, I get to say your funny little things that you say, like it's easier to dig a hole than to build a pole. So that's usually when I reference my trans friend.
That's my explanation of sex reassignment surgery, by the way.
Yeah, so.
That's why trans women have better surgeries, because it's easier to dig a hole than build a pole.
Yep.
You're welcome.
That is usually how I reference my trans friend. Because she says awesome shit.
So, in addition to October being the month that has the most awesome holiday, it's also LGBT History Month. Woot.
Yeah.
And
it's the breast cancer
And it's
month.
Breast Cancer Awareness
Yep.
Month. So, in honor of LGBT History Month, our boss speech this week is from Harvey Milk. So we'll be back after this commercial and speech.
Somewhere in Des Moines or San Antonio, there's a young gay person who all of a sudden realizes that she or he is gay, knows that if the parents find out, they'll be tossed out of the house. The classmates would taunt the child, and the Anita Bryans and John Briggs are doing their bit on TV, and that child has several options. Staying in a closet, suicide, and then one day that child might open a paper and it says homosexual elected in San Francisco, and there are two new options. The option is to go to California, stay in San Antonio and fight. 2 days after I was elected, I got a phone call. The voice was quite young. It was from Altoona, Pennsylvania. And the person said, thanks. And you've got to let gay people so that that young child and the thousands and thousands like that child know that there's hope for a better world. There's hope for a better tomorrow. Without hope, not only gays, but those blacks, the Asians, the disabled, the seniors, the us's. S's. Without hope, the S's give up. I know that you cannot live on hope alone, but without it, life is not worth living. And you gotta give them hope. Thank you.
Audible.com is offering a free 30-day trial for you, the listeners of Shethinkers. To check out their service and download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. This week we personally recommend Call of Cthulhu and Other Stories by H.P. Lovecraft, the father of modern horror. If you like stories about cults, monsters, and madness, then you're going to love H.P. Lovecraft. To download your free audiobook today, go to www.audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Shethinkers for any free audiobook of your choice. And we're back.
Hello.
Scary, not sexy.
Oh, sexy can be scary if I'm holding a knife.
You're terrifying me right now.
Not as terrifying as our stupid sexist song this week.
Oh no!
So we were trying to come up with like a Halloween themed sexist song, and we had a few ideas, and then this video was just so awful.
Well, actually, I want to say, you wanted to go with Lady Gaga's Monster.
I did want to go with Lady Gaga's
So
Monster.
I decided to type in Monster into Google, and I found this, and I was like, no, this beats Lady Gaga's Monster.
Oh, it beats it, like, inside and out.
It does. Like
no photo finish needed. This one was, like, way ahead of the pack, man.
Like, we were thinking about Lady Gaga's Monster, and we thought about Black Magic Woman, and, like, a couple others. But nothing beats this.
No.
This is just awful.
This is so bad.
So
But I must say, you have to take the layered effect. It's the lyrics upon the video. Like,
yeah,
put it together.
If you think the lyrics are bad when you're listening to it, you should, well, maybe you shouldn't watch this video. This video is
depends
terrible.
on who you are.
Yeah.
It might trigger you if you watch the video, but yeah, if you're wanting to understand why this won, watch the video and look at the lyrics and listen to the song with us and put it all together on your computer and follow along, folks, because it's fucked up.
Let's get started. Apparently it's a 6-minute long song.
Yes.
So.
Oh man, it's gonna be a while.
Doesn't matter, most of it is gibberish.
Okay, this is my favorite. So at the beginning of the video, it has a fucking disclaimer that says the following content is in no way to be interpreted as misogynistic or negative towards any groups of people.
This
It is an art piece, and it should be taken as such.
One of my best friends is black.
Yep.
Wait. So I can just say, like, whatever the fuck I want, and as long as I preface it with, oh, it's not intended to be negative towards any group of people, then it's okay?
Yep,
Yes.
apparently.
Oh, it's just like saying no offense before you say something, like, absurdly offensive.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
don't
warned
wanna
you,
sound
so you can't be
racist, but-
offended.
I'm not trying to sound racist, but
But you're gonna power through it.
I love that. Archer.
Shoot the lights out high till it's bright out. Oh, just another lonely night. Are you willing to sacrifice your life?
Alright, it immediately starts with a woman, multiple women hanging dead
From meat hooks.
from meat hooks.
with stilettos on.
With stilettos
And they
on.
look gorgeous. Gorgeous, darling, gorgeous.
Oh my god.
Because they're white, and white women are supposed to be gorgeous.
I did not realize it was that graphic.
Yep.
Oh yeah, just
and,
some Silent Hill shit.
Yeah.
And the women of color are all demons.
Yeah, just wait,
Yup.
wait. Amy, you're gonna get mad.
Yep.
I might have
Bitch, I'm a monster, no good blood sucker. Fat motherfucker, now look who's in trouble. As you run through my jungles, all you hear is rumbles. Kanye West samples, here's one for example.
Gossip, nigga, just stop it. Everybody know
I'm a motherfucking monster.
I'ma need to see your fucking hands at the concert. I'ma need to see your fucking hands at the concert. Profit, nigga, I get it. Everybody know I'm a motherfucking monster. I'ma need to see your fucking hands at the concert. I'ma need to see your fucking hands. The best.
this whole time he's like up against this grate with these basically disembodied hands going through the
Groping
grate,
him, man groping.
him. I say disembodied. Occasionally you see a woman's face behind the fence grate thing, but not really. You pretty much just see hands coming out of the dark.
Yeah, because
groping
every
at
man
him.
Yeah,
needs
it's just some
hands.
Silent Hill shit.
Yeah.
It's like we don't need to see the women connected to these hands or anything because we don't want to think about them as people. We want to think about them as props to use in our artistic piece.
Oh,
For all we know,
you
they're
want to know
not
about
even...
props?
Oh,
Keep going, Dory.
For
keep
all
going.
we know, they're not even women, because the only way you assume
Yeah.
they're women is because
Nail
there's
polish.
painted nails.
Yeah.
And because
Yep.
they're groping Kanye West.
Yep.
Gene
Kilborn would have a field day with this.
Right now, huh? And my eyes more red than the devil is. And I'm about to take it to another
Amy's
level.
starting
bitch.
to
Who
get
going
mad.
get? Ain't nobody cold as this. Do the rap and a track. Triple double no assist. And my only focus is staying
Dead.
on some bogus
Pretending to
shit.
be dead?
Well,
Live women
I mean,
pretending
like
to be dead.
in the show, or are they like mannequins? Like, what is?
No, it is live women pretending to be dead women that he's positioning in bed with him. 2 women that he's positioning in bed with him to do stuff with. Yeah, props, as you were talking about.
Because men don't want living humans to have sex with, to enjoy a pleasurable experience with.
It's not sexist. He put a
They just wanna have
disclaimer.
some fuck pipes.
Amy, he put a disclaimer.
They just want to have fuck pipes that they can
Fuck pipes.
position however they want.
not only that, but this is where the sexist lyrics start.
This is getting me so mad.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He's arguing with my older bitch, acting like I owe her shit. It's just gonna get worse.
Yeah. What does he mean by older bitch? Like she's older than him, or he's just
the
been with her
past.
I'm guessing he's just done with her
Past
because she's
fuck
older.
pipe.
That's why she's a bitch.
Yep.
Arguing with my older bitch, acting like I owe her shit. I heard the beat, the same raps that gave the track pain. Bought the chain that always give me back pain. Fucking up my money, so yeah, I had to act sane. Shy nigga, but these hoes love my accent. Shit came in.
So, what I can infer is that apparently bitches be asking for money, so he kills them, is kind of what I'm getting from the video and the
pretty much.
lyrics.
And then positions them for sex.
Wow.
At least according to the video part. He's pretty cool though. He did give Kim Kardashian a 15-carat diamond ring at a football game.
So?
Oh, good.
So, I mean, he's not completely sexist.
Yay! He gave a rich girl more
A rich
stuff.
item.
Yay!
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Don't
he's
give a
totally
shit.
pro-woman. So,
This the number 2 dial. If you wanna make it number 1, you're number 2 now. Bitch, that goose in Malibu, I call it Malibu, yeah. Goddamn, easy, I would hit him with a new style. Know that motherfucker well. What you gonna do now? Whatever I wanna do, gosh, it's cool now.
Oh God.
I don't even understand what the theme of this song is supposed to be.
he's a monster.
So
He's dealing with gossip.
We went from bitches be crazy and want my money to here's a drink that I like to make to I'm a crazy motherfucker. Like, I don't understand.
Because he's a monster. You don't understand monsters. Don't try to understand the monsters.
I'm having a hard time following his train of thought here. This is my point.
No one can understand his train of thought. But it's about to go
It's
to a
about to get
train.
a lot worse.
It's going to take a train to fucking what the fuckville.
Oh, good.
It's
I can't
getting a
wait.
lot worse.
Gonna do rise to noon now. Think you motherfucker really need to go loud. Cause you'll never get on top of this. So mommy, best advice is just to get on top of this. Have you ever had sex with a
But if I'll never get on top of
Put
this.
the pussy in a sarcophagus. Now
What
she
the-
claiming that I bruised us.
Pause. Okay, here's the lyrics. I want to read it out loud. Okay, have you ever had sex with a pharaoh? I put the pussy in a sarcophagus. Now she claiming that I bruised her esophagus.
So
Head of the class, and she just want a swallow ship. I'm living in the future, so the present is my past. My presence is a present. Kiss my ass. Okay.
wow.
So, all I know is that he is talking about someone explaining that he shoved his dick down her throat forcibly and hurt her, and she's the bitch. That's what I
Apparently.
heard from that lyric. That's what I heard. Apparently rape is cool, and the bitch is being a bitch
I
by
mean,
pointing it out.
If that's not what he means, then he did a really shitty job of.
But he's not a sexist. He put a disclaimer, so...
Okay. All right.
To get on top of this.
No, apparently you can,
Had
like,
sex
completely
with a pharaoh.
abuse the whole first tenet of poetry, too. Is, like, you don't sacrifice meaning for rhyme,
No.
which is exactly what he does.
Pretty much.
Oh, I put the pussy in a sarcophagus. Now she claiming that I bruised her esophagus. Head of the class and she just wanna swallow shit. I'm living in the future,
God,
so the
I hate
present
that
is my
line.
past.
Pause
My
it.
presence is
Head of the class and she just want to swallow ship. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
women can't even be good at. I know he's.
What
probably-
I'm good at is swallowing semen.
That's what women
That's
are
my
good at.
scholarship. I don't get to go to school and actually study anything. I'm gonna swallow semen.
And I know by head of the class he's probably talking about best slut, but I don't give a
No,
shit.
he has the head. He has the head.
Either way.
Of the penis, the head of the class.
Yeah, I could see it
Basically,
that way,
women
still,
are not gonna
it's
achieve
like,
anything in school unless they're fucking sucking dick. That's what I hear. But
Damn, I
not,
guess I better get off the dean's
But
list
he's not a sexist. He's not a sexist. He's just pointing stuff out, and you're not thinking about it unless he's pointing it out. So.
As a present, kiss my ass. Gossip, nigga, just stop it. Everybody knows I'm a motherfucking monster. I'ma need to see your fucking hands at the concert. I'ma need to see your fucking hands at the concert. Profit, nigga, I get it. Everybody knows I'm a motherfucking monster. I'ma need to see your fucking hands at the concert. I'ma need to see your fucking hands.
Sasquatch, Godzilla, King Kong, Loch Ness, Goblin, Ghoul, a zombie with no conscience. Question, what do these things all have in common? Everybody knows I'm a motherfucking monster. Conquer, stomp you, stop your silly nonsense. None of...
Alright, conquer, stomp ya, stop your silly nonsense. Here we go is entitlement, and obviously the whole conquering meme that is part of the patriarchy, and then stop your silly nonsense. I mean, he talks earlier about arguing with his old bitch and women wanting money, and I guess it's okay to kill women or be violent towards them because they're silly.
Yep.
Well, it's
All
just
your
silly.
worries are just silly.
It's silly gold digger stuff.
just silly.
Kanye talked about the gold digger problem ahead of time, and now he's explaining why he's a monster. There's these gold digger bitches that came around, and now he's a monster. It's all their fault.
Well,
They
from
created
what
a
I
monster.
can gather, he's a monster because he's a sexist asshole, except he's not sexist.
He's not sexist. He had a disclaimer, Dory. Stop calling him that. He let us know he's not.
He already explained this shit to you.
He's with a woman.
It's probably because I'm just a silly bitch, and that's why I can't
Silly
understand it.
feminist, this is art!
You just don't understand
Why you
my
don't get
art.
I don't understand this.
But
Art!
the thing I want to point out with Jay-Z's version, or his little
Yeah, this
section
is
here,
Jay-Z's
um,
section, by the way.
he's talking about all these different kinds of monsters, and then he talks about conquering stuff. But it gets really, really fucking graphic in a couple of seconds. He's talking about all these different monsters. Then he talks about conquering shit, and then he goes into this. Go, Dory.
All right.
You niggas know where the swamp is. None of you niggas have seen the carnage that I've seen. I still hear fiends scream in my dreams. Murder in black convertibles. I kill a block, I murder the avenues. I rape and pillage a village, women and children.
Okay, I want to read this again. He's talking about all the carnage he's seen. He's been through so much shit. We get it, Jay-Z. You've been through shit. And then he says, murder in black convertibles. I kill a block, I murder avenues. Rape and pillage a village, women and children. Wait, motherfucker. We have to stop right here.
It actually says I rape and
Yes.
pillage.
So he's saying he rapes and pillages
Women and children.
women and children.
I just want to say, like, dude, this isn't carnage you've seen. This is carnage you fucking
Created.
done. You
Yes.
did it. You created the
It
It's
carnage.
like Godzilla getting pissed
If
off
this
that
is
there's
true, it
buildings
didn't
knocked
passively
down.
happen.
Yeah.
So,
You didn't just see it all happening. It doesn't work that way.
Who is this asshole controlling my body? That's what he's saying.
devil made me do it.
Exactly.
Those magic devil
Vagina magic?
Vagina devil magic.
Everybody wanna know what my Achilles heel is. Love. I don't get enough of it.
Probably
All I
because you're
get is these
raping and
vampires-
pillaging, asshole.
Yeah, it's not
I
a
don't
very
get
good
enough
way to
love.
get love.
Wah. Because I'm raping pillaging
Wah.
all the mothers and children.
and bloodsuckers. All I see is these niggas I made millionaires, milling about, spilling their feelings in the air. All I see is these fake fucks with no fangs, trying to draw blood from my ice cold veins.
Okay, here's what he's pissed off about.
Smell the mess.
Hang on.
Here's what he's pissed off about. There's a bunch of people that have made money knowing him. And he's pissed that they've made money knowing him. And he's like, oh, they're sucking the blood out of me, blah, 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 blah. That's how all of the entertainment industry
Yeah,
works,
that's how
motherfucker.
fame
If you're
works.
gonna cry about that, you might as well cry that there's error and that there's water, and that there's earth, because
It's
that's
like-
just the fucking way it works.
You don't want that shit to happen? Stop being friends with people. Don't
Yeah.
have an entourage.
Don't talk to any human beings.
Don't be famous.
Hide yourself away. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with the rape thing. Like, if you don't want to get raped, just hide from all of humanity.
Right?
If you don't want to get screwed in the entertainment industry, hide away from humanity.
Especially Jay-Z, apparently.
Yes. Oh, boo-hoo, other people made millions because they knew me.
Oh my God, I'm
Feel
rich.
sorry for me, and I'm gonna
rich,
say I'm
and
gonna
now
rape
other
and pillage
people are rich.
women
I'm
and
so
children.
sad.
What's the point of being rich if other people aren't poor?
I guess so. I guess it's true.
Jessica seems to be the only way to back you back.
Gossip, nigga, just stop it. Everybody know I'm a motherfucking monster. I'ma need to see your fucking hands at the
Okay, but
concert.
Nicki
I'ma
Minaj
need
is
to
coming
see
up
your fucking
next.
hands at the
Nicki!
concert.
And I love Nicki Minaj.
Nigga, I get it.
This bitch
Everybody
does
know
this
I'm a
right.
motherfucking
She, like,
monster.
changes the
I'ma
whole
need
song.
to see your fucking hands at the concert. I'ma need to see
I
your
want to point
fucking
this out,
hands.
though. The reason why Nicki Minaj changes this song is because, first of all, she comes onto the scene as a dominatrix, bitch, and she's wearing the most amazing fucking outfit I've ever seen.
Well, and she's being
Right?
a dom to
That
herself.
fucking corset and pearls, man.
So fucking hot, right?
And
Okay.
whatever gauntlets she's wearing.
Right. She seriously, if you want to look amazing, just wear this. And she's
Jesus,
got, like,
she's a
the
bad
teeth and everything.
bitch.
She's the only real woman
But
in the whole video,
Here's the
too.
great thing. When she comes in and she's talking some shit to the person she's being a dominatrix to, you find out she's being a dominatrix to herself. And you have her argument with herself. So
Well, and
this is where it gets awesome.
She's the only woman in the video who isn't either a dead body
Yeah.
or a demon.
Right.
So she's the only real woman in the whole video.
Right. And she fucking...
She's not a prop, basically.
She owns this fucking part and makes the song. Actually, if it was just her, it would be amazing. But with other people,
I think
it
if a
sucks.
lot of things were just Nicki Minaj, it would be amazing.
I think the world would be a better place.
It's true.
Alright. Pull up in a monster automobile gangster with a bad bitch that came from Sri Lanka. Yeah, I'm in a tanka, color of Willy Wonka. You could be the king, but watch the queen conquer.
Wait a second.
First things
I want to
first.
know what the color of Willy Wonka is. Is it white? Because I'm pretty sure.
It's purple. He's got a big purple coat.
Oh, I see.
So she's driving around in a purple bulldozer, apparently.
Yeah.
Because she's fucking Nicki Minaj.
All right,
Awesome.
cool.
I love her.
I'll eat your brain, then I'ma start rocking gold teeth and fangs. Cause that's what a motherfucking monster do. Hairdresser from Milan, that's the monster do. Monster Giuseppe Hill, that's the monster.
I just want to say, like, yeah, we ripped on the dudes for the violence and rape talk, and here she is saying, I'll eat your brains. But here's the thing.
That's zombie talk.
Well, it's zombie talk, but also eating your brains isn't a fucking epidemic that
we're actually dealing with.
That large classes of people are having to deal with.
True.
So, yeah.
It's just zombie shit.
Yeah. No. It doesn't reinforce a culture of brain eating.
Right.
Well, and her way of being a monster is by being the monsters that Jay-Z lists off at the beginning.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
True. So, alright, go ahead.
she's like, no, I'm being a monster, not a terrible fucking human being.
She's basically flipping those guys off.
Basically.
And they don't even realize it.
Nope.
Great.
No.
Show. Young Money is the roster and a monster crew. And I'm pull up in the bank with the funny face. And if I'm fake, I ain't know this cause my money ain't.
Oh my god, I love that line. I just want to repeat this. And I'm all up in the bank with the funny face. And if I'm fake, I ain't noticed cause my money ain't. Oh my god, this bitch is awesome.
Well, and it's great because people are always like hating on her and being thinly veiled racist against Nicki Minaj too. And she's basically like, yeah, you can hate me, but I've got money.
And that ain't fake.
Haters gonna hate.
That is the greatest fucking line ever. I love it.
I'm the rookie, but my features and my shows 10 times your pay. $50K for a verse, no album out. Yeah, my money's so tall that my Barbies gotta climb it. Hotter than the Middle East and climb it, find it. 20 my Tyron, dirty wine it. Nicky on them titties when I sign it. All these niggas so one track minded. I give a F-U-C-K. Forget Barbie, fuck Nicki, she's fake. She on a diet, while I pocket chicken cheesecake. And I'll say, boy, the Chucky is child's play. Just killed another career, it's Memorial Day. Besides, yay,
like that she's rapping against herself.
That's my favorite thing. She has the dominatrix self, and then she has the pink wigged self. And they're rapping
and
against
they're
each
talking
other.
shit against each other.
Yet, both of them are saying "fuck you" to the fucking sexist dude bros at the beginning.
Yeah, right.
How
pretty great.
amazing is she at this point?
Oh man.
I love that she's talking, because the main thing that they're talking against is all these gold digging bitches, all these fuckers that are trying to fuck with their fucking shit because they're fucking awesome and other people are fucking with them, and she's like, whatever, I have money.
I'm
so
gonna fuck with
everybody.
myself and you.
Well, yeah, it's not just that, but she's like talking about actual hurtful things that people have said about her.
Right.
And
real shit.
Like, yeah, she's talking about real shit, and they're like, well, I argued with this bitch the other day.
She was trying to get my money because I had a kid with her.
Because I have money.
I don't know. All right.
Thank you, Nicki Minaj.
Ass, give them whiplash. I think big, get cash, make them blink stash. Now look at what you just saw. This is what you live for. I'm a motherfucking monster.
No, you're not a monster. You're fucking amazing. They're monsters. But no, we do. Because the ending part annoys the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah.
It's important.
I crossed the line, and I let God decide.
I hate this cop-out.
Right?
It is the worst cop-out. It's so common in rap music, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a shitty fucking person. I am a horrible person. I did horrible shit. But let God decide. Who are you to judge? The fact that you have to say that, the fact that you have to say that tells me you know that what you just did was fucked up. And then you put a disclaimer saying what you did wasn't sexist. Let's let God decide, right, Kanye?
But what does God have to decide about? I thought this wasn't sexist.
Yeah.
But even
This
if
is
it
just
was
art,
sexist,
man.
even if it was sexist,
Maybe he's saying
it's
it's
God,
not sexist,
so-
but it is terrible.
No. God is for this shit, right?
Let God decide. And I wouldn't last these shows. So I am headed home.
Aww, poor Kanye. He's sad, and so he's gonna smack down cameras from the paparazzi at TMZ. Boo-hoo.
Why are you taking my picture? Isn't that why you're here?
Can I say why Kanye annoys the shit out of me? And this is gonna probably seem bizarre to most human beings, but this is the thing that pissed me off the most. I'm watching the news. Okay, not watching the news. I'm watching entertainment news, and I see this shit about Kanye proposing to Kim. And the thing that pissed me off the most is that you see the screen that came up where he's asking her to marry him, and it says, please, with a bunch of E's, marry me, with a bunch of E's, and I'm like, with exclamation points, I'm like, what the fuck is that shit? If someone put that, I would be like, no, I'm gonna say no because that shit looks stupid on the screen. Why is there so many E's all over the fucking place?
But yeah, the video, like,
Ugh.
I mean, our listeners can't see the video, but
Go look at the video.
But I'll
because that's
sum up the
worst
video
part.
for you, basically. It's Kanye and Jay-Z with a bunch of dead women and disembodied female hands that are supposed to look like zombies, but they're just grabbing for their money.
And then there's black women eating people.
Yeah, and then there's black women that are, like, chasing them and eating them or whatever, because
black women
bitches be
are
after your money, yo.
Yeah, black women are gonna be like eating
Animals.
shit and being animalistic, and white women are good for being just laying there, dead fish.
Dead.
You just position them and fuck them.
And then at the end, you're like, oh, here's Nicki Minaj being awesome. And Nicki
So
Minaj
we're therefore
is,
not sexist.
Nicki Minaj is torturing herself.
Yeah.
Like, Nicki Minaj's portion of the video is actually pretty cool.
Hey, but isn't that for me? That is such a. For me, it's beautiful because.
That's
I think,
what women do all the time.
I think most women are their own worst enemy. They're like, fuck you, you dumb little Barbie bitch, fucking piece of shit. And you're like, I'm gonna try to argue myself.
Yep.
Because I need to live.
Basically. That's why it's so brilliant. Like.
Yeah. So take away all the boy stuff.
I'm gonna say, like, the boy stuff is so, like, trivial and dumb.
Man,
like,
bitches be wanting my money.
And she's like, I'm gonna argue with myself and try to kill myself because that's what women do all the time.
I think it's
That's
actually a really good commentary on like the internalized misogyny that women have to deal with.
Yep.
All the time. It's not just like other people we have to deal with. It's our own brains that have soaked
Which is
in
way
all
worse.
this bullshit.
Yeah, it's way worse.
And I don't know. Just want to throw that out there that
It is art. The video is art.
But only the Nicki Minaj
Only until
portion.
Nicki Minaj.
Clearly, you know, hashtag creeping misandry. It's just because we only like her because she's female.
But you know what? If I were her, honestly, I would have been part of that video too. Just put that part into it.
Right.
Because I'd be like, you know what? It doesn't matter how stupid your shit is. My shit's gonna be in there. So.
That's basically what she says in there too.
Yeah. It is basically what she says. She actually mocks them in a lot of parts of it. So.
Love Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, oh no, I don't like her because of blee blah blue, whatever. She's fucking amazing, and the commentary she has on the society with which we live in, and then also is able to kind of attack certain feminist or feminine stereotypes. I think she's brilliant. That's my personal opinion.
So yeah, I think that might be the worst stupid sexist song we've done.
And
I don't know.
yeah, it was still redeemed by Nicki Minaj.
We seem to say that every week.
Yeah.
So every week it just gets worse.
Let's top ourselves every week.
I don't know. A guy laying in bed with two white women that are dead and positioning them to have sex
and
with themselves.
posing them to look like they're
That's
lesbians.
I don't know if you can get worse than that.
But all right, who wants to talk about monsters in the Bible?
Woo! Monsters in the Bible.
Hey, can I just point out, we now have a Skeptics Annotated Bible for secular view.
Yay!
Woo! And we're going to start trying to put some post-it notes and tag things in there and see what it turns into.
Can we write about Les' experiences in our Skeptics Annotated
yes,
Bible?
you can do whatever you want to your Skeptics Bible. It's not like the Bible you had at church. There's no way to make it dirty.
Awesome. All right, so there's all kinds of silly monsters in the Bible, for those who don't know. Where to start? My favorite is that unicorns are in the Bible.
I actually want to talk about that.
Okay.
It's not necessarily like the unicorn as we know it today that's mentioned in the Bible. The word is actually, I'm going to butcher it because I don't speak Hebrew, but it's actually Ra'em. And this is a mythological creature that it's a metaphor. It means where'd it go? It's basically an animal that was wild and untamable, and it had strength and agility.
It's Black Stallion.
Pretty much. And the thing is, when they translated it into English, they were trying to find a similar mythological animal that European people would understand, had the same meaning, because metaphors don't translate really well.
Right.
Tiger Lily would know this. I mean, she speaks a lot of different languages.
And she's very much in a linguistics and idioms. So.
And so it's not necessarily that they're like, this creature existed and it was here. It was a way of explaining. Like here it says, God brought them out of England. I can't speak. God brought them out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of an unicorn. It wasn't saying unicorns actually exist. It's obviously using it as a simile for God's strength. But again, the original word wasn't actually talking about the European mythological creature.
As I pointed out in a video I did, when you read especially the New Testament, you have to think of, and I look at the happy Jesus holding up his, thumbs up.
Buddy Christ.
But I do hyperbolic Jesus with his thumbs up. He's very hyperbolic, but so is all of the talk in that particular section. But even in the Old Testament, there's a lot of hyperbole.
Yeah.
And it's meant to express something. It's a way. If you're an English major, you understand it. If you're a dumbass, you interpret it into stupid stuff.
And I want to do another quote because it's a really good one that illustrates them well. It's from the book of Job, 39 verses 9 through 12. I'm going to just use the term unicorn here, but okay. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee or abide by thy crib? Canst thou bind the unicorn with band in the furrow? Or will he harrow the valleys after thee? Wilt thou trust him because his strength is great, or wilt thou leave thy labor to him? Wilt thou believe him that he will bring home thy seed and gather it into thy barn? Now here, it's not saying unicorns actually exist and asking you questions about whether or not they'll do this. Again, the ram was known for its strength and agility, but also because it was wild and untamable.
Oh my gosh, do you want to know why this is
That's
funny?
what they're saying. Like, you...
Wait, do you want to know why this is funny? What? It's because Daniel's intro to philosophy professor said that bisexuality is as real as unicorns. And so now I'm just using all that interpretation.
We're wild and untamable.
Ooh,
I love
yeah.
that. Oh my god.
Woo. Damn bisexuals.
But basically, it's not actually asking you about unicorns. It's using it as a placeholder to mean, because this sounds like a ridiculous question. Because
right.
of course, the reem. I don't know how to say this word. Ram is not going to serve you. It's untamable. It's untamable.
Just call it a ram because that's kind of fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
ram.
Just because it's fun. I don't know
rams
if that's
are
how
another animal. But it's like, it's supposed to be like, I don't know, like asking if I will get upset if you say something sexist. Like, well, is Dirty Nerdy going to get upset if I say this sexist thing? Like, do you really have to ask?
Does the Pope shit in the woods?
Exactly. That's what
the Pope
that
does
means.
Shit in the woods? So that's my rant about unicorn. Atheists out there, please don't use the presence of unicorns in the Bible to show why the Bible is stupid.
Hyperbole.
There are way better reasons why the Bible is stupid.
And there's
I will
way more
say,
mythical creatures out
I
there.
will say, as far as mythological creatures are concerned, I had an interesting discussion with Venom Fang X from YouTube popularity, if you know who he is. But I didn't know it was Venom Fang X. I was in a forum where he was known as Sean, and so I didn't know.
Recently?
This was probably last year.
Whoa!
I did not know I was talking to Venom Fang X, although I should have.
The Sean.
The Sean. And so I was having a discussion with him, and we were talking about dinosaurs and stuff, and he's like, the Bible talks about dinosaurs, and his way of saying that the Bible talks about dinosaurs is to talk about how the Bible talks about dragons. So is that possibly anything we're going to discuss about mythological creatures, or is that just...
It's funny because the Bible mentions dragons and what they call behemoths, which very clearly resemble dinosaurs.
Actually, the description of the behemoth in the Bible didn't match any description of a dinosaur ever.
So dragons and behemoths are dinosaurs,
that it's giant
apparently.
And scary, and so people think that's a description of a dinosaur.
Big means dinosaur, although many dinosaurs were very small. So,
I guess.
What else?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's behemoths and dragons, and my personal favorite mythical creature in the Bible,
the hippo,
is giants.
Oh,
because it's very like giants show up all the time in the Bible.
Well, yeah, there's David and the Goliath.
And it's not just like I've heard the apologist tactic where it's just like, well, people were shorter back then, so average height people now were...
No, they actually say that giant people were the reason why the pyramids were built and all this other stuff. So.
Well, and not only that, but they explicitly say how tall Goliath is.
And it's very, very,
Goliath
very
is
tall.
like 9 feet tall and some change, which is like pretty fucking tall.
I don't know, how tall is the tallest person?
Especially considering how short
Shorter
everybody
than 9
was.
feet.
So, I think the problem with the giants thing is the part of their mythology, and it's probably the most hilarious part, is that angels came down and started mating with earth women.
8 feet 11 inches, tallest man.
Yep.
Ever. Okay.
The Nephilim.
The Nephilim. And
Oh,
so
God, the Nephilim.
basically the angels fucked people and giants happened.
How? I don't
That
know.
makes
They don't
sense.
have genitalia.
They don't have genitals, but women had sex with angels because all angels are men, of course, even though they don't have genitals.
I'm gonna say, well, God knocked up Mary. I'm sure angels can figure out a way to knock up.
But for some
other
reason,
women.
What is the product of human women and angels? Apparently, ginormous humans. I don't understand the logic. I don't know how the DNA works because I don't have any angel DNA on me. But apparently, giants happen when angels fuck women that are from Earth.
But not fucking women.
We're like the people of the Bible too supposedly larger and like we're getting smaller and dumber every single like generation.
Yeah, supposedly people in the Bible
So
lived
I mean,
for like
we probably
900
were
years,
in
too.
their eyes a lot taller and bigger, and then of course with like fortified angel DNA, then you become ginormous.
Fortified. I come with fortified angel DNA.
That sounds like a vitamin I should take every week.
It's like a turbo version of
But yeah, like, apparently the giants managed to survive the flood because they were so tall.
Oh, so they stand above, whatever level the sea was at that
Mount
point.
They tread water really well.
They just
Which is a
climbed-
mountain.
They just climbed to the top of the tallest mountain and, stood up.
And they're like, I hope Noah comes around here soon. But apparently Noah was the only one who lived, so they were like the new fresh human beings, but there were giants already there. Maybe they're the ones that tainted everything.
But yeah, it says here, and there we saw the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
Grasshopper.
And then it goes on to they keep going on about how fucking tall the giants are constantly.
They're pretty fucking tall.
And
these
that
giants.
God has a really hard time killing them. I don't know if they have iron chariots or not.
No,
but-
they're half angel, and angels are hard
fortified
to kill.
angel DNA.
Wait,
It's a great
I
vitamin.
thought Satan started out as an angel. Why was God?
He did.
I guess God didn't.
But
kill
he's a
Satan.
fallen angel.
Just,
There's a
banished
difference.
him.
He was like, here, go punish people who like you for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got that. Why would Satan?
There's the good guy
actually-
Satan.
I've never
That's
understood
awesome.
that.
Like how does that
Why
work?
what?
So you don't like God? I don't like God either. I'm going to punish you for eternity for some reason.
I don't know.
I've never understood
Sounds
that
like
part.
a Republican scare tactic.
Well,
to
I mean,
me.
it's like I'm kind of going off of Dante's explanation of hell, where it's like Satan doesn't have free reign. He's like imprisoned in hell, and so like when people join him in hell, he's not happy about that. It's like in the Master and Margarita too. Satan gets really upset at people who sin, especially when they sin the same way he did. So I mean, I kind of get that because he was like the most beloved of the angels, and he was the closest to God.
So he's jelly.
Yeah, I mean he was a seraphim if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Those guys are terrifying looking.
yeah, absolutely terrifying,
Right.
and that's why he's the hideous fallen angel. It's like as hideous as he was beautiful in heaven.
But here's the part that doesn't make sense to me, because if you go with that, where Satan is like basically God is just forcing Satan to be an asshole, which again, God's the one being an asshole if hell
Right.
exists. But
Oh yeah,
even if that's the case, then why is Satan supposed to be the one that's tempting people into hell?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, a lot of the denominations of Christianity don't really make much sense because, like, some other ones are like, yeah, absolutely, God does this. God, like, tempts us to do things, and we're supposed to choose the right one, and you've done a bunk if you choose wrong.
And that's called free will for some reason.
Something
Even
like
though
that.
God created a universe where he knew you were going to make this particular decision,
It's free will.
it's free
I mean,
will
yeah,
somehow.
he just got, like, really tired of flooding the earth, like, after the fourth time.
But I one of our writers over at Secular Views, JT and JT Eberhardt, and he has a great talk, and he talks about free will, and he gives a great explanation. You go into a building, and there's lots of things you can do to the building, and like one of the things he says is you could just go pee on the building, but like, why would you just go pee on the building? Or why would you, try to do certain things to the building? Like, just because you have the option to do it doesn't mean that's something you're most likely to do. And that doesn't mean that you have more free will.
He goes on to say that like you're able to do like so many things to it, but then again, you would not be able to lift that. You're not able to lift that building with your mind.
Therefore, you don't have free will.
Yeah, I'm not able to do this thing, and so I don't have free will, which makes no sense. That Yeah, I mean,
But
God could have made...
you could have designed a universe where people were unable to commit evil but still had free will.
Exactly.
Yep. You could
Like,
have
was
many
not able to do
choices.
it.
You could have many choices that are all good choices without any bad choices. And that's really what it boils down to is, why is it that so many people are like, Satan's the bad guy? Because he gives us one other option other than the other white option. He gives the black option or whatever the, side
well,
of the
didn't Satan give us free will by tempting Eve to eat the...
He had us eat from the knowledge of...
It depends on your story.
Because that's always how I looked at it, because Adam and Eve seem to be basically just mindless automatons.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're more or less angels. And it's only after they eat the fruit
naked
of good
angels
and evil
with
that
penises
they're like,
and vaginas.
holy shit, we're naked. We should, not be naked.
I got
I should put a leaf
good guy
on this.
Lucifer meme.
Yes.
I love
this.
good guy Lucifer memes.
I love this meme.
Sees naked, willful thought slave in the Garden of Eden. Teaches critical thinking.
That's pretty much what happens.
Love it.
I mean, that was the epitome of what the tree was to learn the difference between what is good and evil, which is the creation of free will. And so this idea that God is the one that has given us free will, yet it was the snake, and it's not even Lucifer.
Yeah, it's not.
That is bullshit.
No. But
if you actually read the story, it's just
it's some random ass snake that wanders
it's
into
a serpent that can talk for some unknown reason.
Although I've heard theories that the evil that was the snake, or that embodied itself as the snake, was actually Lilith. Getting back at Adam's husband, or Adam's new wife.
I love that.
Here's another good guy, Lucifer. Gives sentience to humans, blamed for all evil in the world.
Yeah, and I mean that is the thing that annoys me the most, is so many Christians you talk to are like, well, God gives us free will, and I'm like, wait a second, if you read the fucking story, the serpent is what gave us free will, because he is what made us eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and God told us not to. So don't continue to say this free will bullshit, because it's bullshit.
It didn't even make us. It was just like, why not?
And not only that, as JT also pointed out in his talk, if you go to freaking heaven, are you still gonna have free will?
Nope.
Because it's all good, and there's no evil, so all of a sudden free will goes out the window, right? Because there's no evil there.
Well, and
according to their logic.
And you're supposedly never going to be sad about your family members being tortured for all eternity, so you're not even you in heaven anymore. So.
Yeah. No, you're not. You only exist for the glory that is the unity of God, and it's pretty great. I actually talked to a friend of mine. We abridged in Teen Girl Squad voices if anybody remembers Homestar Runner,
Girl Squad.
the divine comedy. And it's like, everybody loves Inferno because it makes sense. It makes sense because you understand, the crime and the punishment, even if you don't agree with it. It's a very well thought out, very entertaining story. It combines all these different characters from history and mythology and poetry and these mythical beasts and everything, but it all is very, very logical. And then you get to Purgatorio, and it's boring as hell. Yeah, because it's like, boring. Well, it's not really a punishment, but it is, because you can't get to heaven, and you have people running around on fire for 500 years and whatever, and they're climbing up the mountain to the earthly paradise, and you sort of understand it, but not really. And then once you get to the Paradiso, it just all goes out the window, and Dante asks Beatrice when she's guiding him up to heaven, this doesn't make any sense. And she just goes, you're immortal, you don't understand, you never will. And he's like...
Which was my mom's running theme of my life.
Exactly, yeah. And people in hell, by the way, when he talks to the spirits in hell, they say, Dante, when you go back to the Earth's surface, remember to my relatives, tell them not to go down the path that I did. And, he has all this pity for the sin, and that's why he's got to get over it, which is great, because then he crosses... the river Styx, and then this guy that he knew in life, he's like, Dante, you remember me? He's like, yeah, you're an asshole, I'm really glad that you're down here. And Virgil basically gives him a high five and is like, yeah. But you don't see that once you get up to heaven,
No.
because you cross over in, like, you bathe yourself rather in the two rivers, one that forgets your sin and one that absolves you of sin, and so you don't remember anything that you did on earth. You don't remember bad things on earth,
So you
including
become
the
a
relatives that
robot.
are left behind. And once you get up there, like, he actually, I think it's in the Circle of Mars, he says, like, can I talk to just one of you spirits? Because they're like this big, it's like in Finding Nemo, like the school of fish. They're this burning firebird, and they're making all these crazy ass shapes in the heavens. And he's like, I just want to talk to one of you. And he's like, but we are one. He's like, oh, great.
Not this Trinity bullshit again.
Exactly. Like, everything. They're just constantly singing the praises of God and how blessed they are, and like that's all their existence is. They don't remember their life on earth, and they vaguely do. But then it's like, but now I don't care. I don't care about the people I left behind. I don't care about those that are suffering in hell because they chose their path, and now I'm in heaven. Everything is great.
One of the things that like most set me down the path of not being a Christian anymore was when we read Paradise Lost in I forget when in high school.
Such a great story.
It's such a great story, and our essay was it was fairly simple. It was like, who's the good guy in the Bible, God or Satan?
Oh.
And when I was thinking about it, I was like, fuck, man, I think it's Satan. Like, it was like, I can't prove that God's a
Damn
good
public
guy.
schools making people atheists.
I was the only one that argued for Satan, too.
Wow.
I was
Satanists.
Interesting. See, in my high school, nobody argued for God.
No, I mean, I do live in Texas, so...
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I lived in New Hampshire.
But no, I would
That's how
especially...
different of a country they
Yep.
are.
I live in Texas, and we didn't read Paradise Lost in our classes. I read it on my own.
Aww.
Oh, I didn't get to talk about it with anyone. I actually, let me see. I read Paradise Lost, and I read Dante's Inferno. I got about halfway through Purgatorio, and I got really bored because Purgatorio was boring, and I just stopped reading. I didn't even get to the heaven.
I'm gonna say I rage quit the Divine Comedy, so I was like, nope, fuck this shit, I'm out of here.
Dude,
Yeah, no,
Inferno was
how
so much
through
fun
Inferno,
to
you're
read.
like, yeah, that's awesome. And then you get to Purgatorio, you're like, none of this shit makes any sense.
I read a footnoted version, and I read every single goddamn footnote, and I thought it was hilarious that, like, he was, like, using it to basically put forward a political agenda because he put his political opponents in hell in different areas.
Well,
yeah, like he created the idea of limbo because he couldn't, like, he didn't want to admit that, technically all these, influential people and good people would be in hell. So he's like, oh, but this is like not really hell. This is like a really nice part of hell.
It's like hell light.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, it's not torturous. It's just a little bit somber.
Well, my favorite is that, like, then the Catholic Church was like, yeah, why didn't we think of that? Let's just go with this shit.
Yep.
This is what hell and heaven is now.
But the Buddhists had already had this kind of idea, and there's a theme park that I saw. It's a giant dragon that you can walk through, and you can see all the different parts of hell. And basically, depending on what kinds of sins you've done, you have to do this particular thing to get through this mountain. I don't know how it goes exactly, but I do know this. There is one particular part where if you're a womanizing rapist asshole, you have to climb this giant tree full of sword, like knife things sticking out of it, and it like cuts your penis up while you try to climb it and stuff.
Yep.
So what you're saying is that white people have been stealing ideas from other people for centuries?
For a long, long time. These are not original ideas. Your idea of hell is just borrowed. And your idea of God is borrowed, too, from the land of Ur. So stop it, Jews, Christians, and Islamic people. Like, your idea is borrowed from Ur. You're just borrowing religions, and stop.
What if you're wrong?
I'm not. I'm not wrong.
Why aren't you worshiping Ur, Christians?
Yeah, go worship El and his wife, because God had a wife, even in the Bible. That's my fun little tidbit I'm gonna throw in today.
Well, who's excited to talk about Halloween?
I am.
Yay!
Okay, we'll be back right after this commercial, I think.
And my new beer.
And your new beer. Shethinkers and Secular View fans, we're planning a road trip to Skepticon, and we need your help.
We need to raise $700 in order to pay for transportation for 10 of our contributors to and from the conference and for our lodging.
Have no fear. This isn't a vacation for us. We will be spending the weekend interviewing attendees and speakers, doing live podcasting at the after parties with special guests, and live blogging the conference, workshops, and talks.
For instance, Hina Databoy and I will record a Battle of the Holy Books. Hina has chosen an annotated Quran, and my weapon of choice will be the Skeptic's annotated Bible. The winner will establish which holy book hates women the most.
If there are any particular speakers or talks you'd like us to cover, please leave a comment when you donate specifying what kind of content you're looking for. We want our fans who can't go to feel like they are part of Skepticon as well. Go to GoFundMe.com/Shethinkers to leave your donations and suggestions.
No need to break the bank on this one. With almost 700 followers on Spreaker and over 1,000 likes on Facebook, you could help send Secular View to Skepticon for less than $1.
Once again, that's GoFundMe.com/Shethinkers.
That's SHETHINKERS, Shethinkers. And we're back. Spooky.
I'm going to talk in my spooky voice.
Somebody got us new drinks and it's scary.
Because it's blood red, you vampires.
I don't get ice in my drink.
Aww.
That's okay.
I'll go get you
Ice is so not Halloweeny.
Have one of my ice.
Maybe dry ice.
Okay.
Don't stick fingers in it.
How am I going to get ice cubes out of your drink?
I told you one.
With your Jedi powers. Duh.
Okay.
But use your free will and move the ice from my cup into your cup without your hands or feet.
This is true facts.
So, hey,
Okay.
Halloween. Let's talk about the history of Halloween, because that's always fun.
And
it ties into our Bible talk, because it's basically just Catholics trying to hijack pagan rituals in order to
Halloween has to do with Christianity. It always has. That's why
I thought it was Satan's holiday.
No.
I'm gonna look.
Candy is the reason for the season.
I agree.
But no, seriously, back when I was very small, and in a funny home. I was in a funny home. My family was against me going trick-or-treating because that was evil. But it was totally fine to go to the church and dress up and collect candy from booths where you would pretend to fish for things.
Oh man, the
and
fall
stuff like that.
festival.
Yeah, fall festival.
That was
That's
totally
a special
cool.
place in my heart.
Totally cool to do that, but not okay to go knocking on doors and saying trick or treat. So, I want to know, as far as what you're going to say for your historical reference, why is it okay to go to fall festivals, but not okay to knock on doors? Is it because of money for the church, or is it because people don't like socialism and free candy?
They don't want you socializing with people outside of the church. That's what it is.
That's probably.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's mostly what it is.
Well, and here's, like, on the one hand, I can understand at least having trick or treat in a central location, like a trunk or treat, if you've seen those before.
Yeah,
I kind of understand for small children. Like, because kids can't walk very far, and
Going
you
to
don't
door to door
necessarily
with you
know.
is hard.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily know, like,
all of your neighbors
or whatever. So, in that respect, like a trunk or treat, or I guess a fall festival, or whatever the fuck churches want to call Halloween, because it's still Halloween, works.
Dude,
I guess.
One year at the fall festival, there was one group of like really conservative parents at our church who just hated Halloween like altogether, and were like, you shouldn't have any Halloween. And so they would put like restrictions on costumes, like you couldn't be scary or whatever. But apparently it had gotten to the point where nobody was actually enforcing the costume rule. So rather than just say fuck it, no rule because whatever, they made it even stricter and were like, only people in biblical costumes can come. And
Can you come dressed as Satan?
They only did it. They only did it for 1 year because it was boring. Everybody was pretty much dressed the same way because I guess nobody decided to. Everybody was either dressed as a stupid, vanilla-looking Precious Moments angel, or in what they think are clothes that people wore back then, the long robes and shit.
I'm gonna say the bed sheet with a rope.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what everybody dressed in. Like, basically,
Can I
kind of
tell
like
you-
togas.
Can I tell you an awesome costume thing that happened for
I
me
wish
for the
they'd-
fall festival?
Yeah.
My mom was probably trying to be cheap, I'm sure, because we weren't loaded with money. But
And costumes
it came
ain't
out
cheap.
it came out brilliant. It was me and my two sisters, and I'm the oldest. My youngest sister dressed up like the daddy. My middle sister dressed up like the mommy, and me, the oldest sister, dressed up like the baby. And I felt like that was attacking ageism. It was attacking
awesome,
sexism.
actually. I love
It was a brilliant costume. She put like a mustache on my little sister, who's already she remained bald for a long time, because that's a problem for the blondes and the
Aw.
redheads. I know that you all can feel that.
No,
Those
I
babies.
had hair.
Okay, she had like a strawberry blonde that
Yeah.
never grew.
I've had babies like that. Well,
You've seen babies like that.
I've
yeah?
taken care of babies like that. I
Yeah, that was her.
understand. Yeah.
She was bald for a very long time, so she was dressed up like a man for Halloween, but it wasn't Halloween. It was the fall festivals. But looking back, that was kind of a brilliant costume because it attacked a lot of gender norms and ageism and everything. So
Well, and that
that's
ties
cool.
back more to the roots of Halloween better than dressing
Right.
up in
And
other costumes. At least most of what I know from like the history of Halloween is from Irish history that I've heard from my family, which may or may not be accurate.
This may be anecdotal evidence.
it may have just been a bunch of drunk Irish people.
I was gonna say, it might have been.
It had a lot of food that you could drink through a straw, and people punching each other in their face when they were drinking beer.
But from what I've gathered is that at least in ye olde Ireland, the thought was that on the night of Halloween is when all the spirits were out, and so you would cross-dress in order to confuse the spirits.
Oh my gosh, my mom didn't even realize how awesome she was at that point.
Oh my god. That is amazing.
I have to tell her now. I'm gonna call my mom. I haven't called her in forever.
I remember dressing as Marvin the Martian one year.
That's
and
awesome.
like
You're cross-dressing as a Martian.
I was a cross-dressing Martian, and I made the costume. I happened to have the Marvin the Martian helmet thing, and I don't know what the deal was. I had a Marvin the Martian kick for a while. I loved watching any episode of.
I did too.
Was it Looney? It was Looney
Who
Tunes,
doesn't
yeah.
like Marvin the Martian?
And
He was my favorite one.
so
and-
we had gone to Six Flags, and I guess my mom bought me a Marvin the Martian helmet, a little like foam one. It was really cool.
Oh my god, me too.
Really? So I put on the Marvin the Martian helmet, and then And then I don't remember how I made the rest of the costume because we were pretty poor, and so I just looked up what he wore, and I think I wore like a black long sleeve T-shirt, and I made green cuffs and wore like yellow gloves or something. It was really cool.
That's badass.
That's the only costume I remember from when I was a kid, but I know I dressed up every year. It was my favorite part.
See, that was one sad thing. There was a Halloween where Kylie wanted to be Darth Vader really bad, and it's a much more elaborate costume, and I didn't like any of the costumes that were for kids. They were very cheesy looking, so I ended up creating a Princess Leia costume because I can make one that's super awesome
you can
with
make
her
a
own
Princess
buns.
Leia costume a lot
And
easier.
so I felt bad that I was like, hey, I'm gonna have to go with the girl one because it's just easier to make a more awesome costume than have you wear a cheesy, ugly, stupid
You
costume.
could have gone with an Emperor costume.
She wanted to do the Queen Amidala really bad.
Cool.
So maybe sometime. But it's a very elaborate hairdo and makeup style, so I have to find someone who's awesome with that. But the point is she actually was like, Mommy, I want to be Darth Vader, and I'm like, my daughter's awesome.
You know
and that
what?
was at 5, so
I'm willing to help with that costume if she still wants
it needs
to
to
do
be elaborate
some
though,
year.
and I hate those cheesy the kids ones are so lame.
Dude, I make my costume every year.
Although I did buy buy an awesome Darth Vader helmet from the early 90s.
Yeah.
At a Comic-Con, and it has the voice changer
If
little
you
box.
still have that.
I still have that. I just bought it maybe 8 or 9 months ago.
I mean, it would probably
brilliant.
fit. It would probably fit Kylie by
now. Yeah. She could do Darth Vader soon. So I think we should. That'll go with the real honor or the real truth behind Halloween.
If she Kylie, if you still want to be Darth Vader next year, I'll help you make your costume. I will do that because that's awesome.
Hey, Tiger Lily.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us about Samhain?
Oh, okay. So when? I guess it's where to begin. So I guess we're talking about modern Wicca, and Wicca is one of those interesting kind of neo-pagan. I am hesitant to say religion, but life and belief systems, I suppose, is a better coinage for that. But it takes from a lot of English and Irish and ancient Celtic and a lot of Druidic beliefs, and has kind of set them in motion to be very open-ended and modernized. You can be basically as strict or as not strict as you want, because there's no governing body of Wicca. There are a couple of different traditions within Wicca that are sometimes more strict than others, but there are plenty of solitary practitioners like I am, and you can make it whatever you want so long as you follow some of the basic tenets, that being, basically don't be a dick to people, and don't
be a cunt.
Yeah, don't be a fucking asshole. Don't be a cunt. Because nobody likes
That's
that.
my only commandment of atheism. Don't be an asshole.
One would think, right? It's like, if you're not harming anybody, then do whatever it is you want to do. Be whatever you want to be. Don't hurt people if you can help it. And, do your best to realize that you are within this natural realm of ours. You're not outside of nature. Humans are still part of our environment. And so for a lot of, maybe even most Wiccans, the environment is a very, very important thing to us. Going green is important to us. Actually, it's one of those things that started me on my herbal healing kind of path. I took a lot of botany classes in high school and in college, and advanced plant biology classes, because I like being able to go out and know my surroundings, and I always felt really at home and at peace with nature. And just, I think plant biology and plant sciences are pretty damn cool. That's the seat of ending world hunger and things like that, and the seat of medicine. So that's cool. So there's no dogma involved, because nobody can tell you what you should and shouldn't believe, and there's no real I don't know, some Wiccans might tell you, like, oh, well, like, the goddess or the god are going to be upset at you if you don't, do this ritual or do this practice. But it's like, no, they fucking don't care, actually. There's no place they say that. They didn't say that to me.
What are the god and the goddess?
It has a point.
Just hit on that a little bit, because I know you're an atheist, but there's a god and goddess, so how does that work?
So there's kind of a philosophical aspect of it where there's traditionally a duality. So they say god and goddess, but the god is representative of like the light portion and like warm portion of the year. And things that are earthly, things that are terrestrial and material, whereas the goddess side is much more philosophical, mystical. It's nighttime, it's the winter and the fall seasons, and everything works in cycles. It's kind of like yin and yang for Chinese beliefs, which also ties into why I became Wiccan at such an early age, because like you can say from a metaphorical kind of poetic standpoint, like, oh, god and goddess, but what you really mean is like this duality of life, and it's not even necessarily duality, but understanding that things work in cycles and that things are fluid. So like yin and yang is a great example of that, because yin and yang are two separate entities, but they're also ever changing into one another. They have pieces of the other inside of them. And I mean, it's great to explain things to especially younger people, like, how fluid sexuality is and how fluid gender is, and like people and animals, and like the living and dying process, and night and day and that sort of thing. It's like there's no real line between nighttime and daytime. It's like the earth is constantly moving, and our universe is constantly moving. Atoms are constantly moving, and they can become anything, and you can become anything. It's pretty cool. And like there is sort of a poetic divine in that, I think, that you can get into the groove without saying like this is God or this is a goddess or whatever.
So it's basically showing differences and things, but the fluidity of everything kind of working together anyway.
Right, and it's like...
I want to be a middle schooler real quick and throw out that all sexuality is fluid if you do it right.
I like that.
And, sorry, go ahead.
I just want to ask, so you're Wiccan in that you have all of these different viewpoints from the Wicca, but is there a difference between being Wicca period and Wicca atheist?
Not really, because like I said, there's no governing body, and some, depending on what you want to call yourself to, like, I met somebody recently who absolutely adamantly calls herself a witch, and like, absolutely she's a witch. And it's like, I prefer not to call myself a witch because there's too many annoying questions that come with that. And even saying like, I'm pagan. Yeah, exactly. Even saying, oh, I'm pagan is a really broad painted stroke to say what I do or don't believe, and it's like, it's not a belief because I'm an atheist. It's like, this is just how I like to talk about these things, and these things that Wicca encompasses mean a lot to me. And they have a very real practical background. They have a real, observable sort of thing. Like I can observe the cycles of life, and I can observe, the fluidity of gender and sexuality in the people that I know, and so on and so forth, and down the evolutionary tree and whatnot. So in our holidays too, that's the other thing. Getting back on track with the Halloween thing. Right. So there are 8. And 4 of them were known as the minor sabbats, and they're the things like the equinoxes and the solstices. So those don't really change year to year. They fluctuate maybe within a couple of days. But then the greater sabbats, the fire sabbats, which sounds really fucking cool because it is, things like Beltane, which is May Day, and Samhain, which is Halloween, or All Saints Day, or whatever you want to call it. And it's just an excuse to have a big fucking party with a big fucking fire. It's awesome.
Pyro time. pyro time.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
Halloween because it's my excuse to do cosplay in real life.
Right? Yeah. What is
I can
Halloween
go to
but
the store
cosplay
in my
in test
Batgirl
run?
costume and it's perfectly fine. No one says shit about it.
Yeah.
One, we kind of brought this up during Pride. Halloween is like Pride for straight people. Like, it's the one day that they get out of the year where they get to, like, dress however the fuck they want and nobody says anything.
Yep.
Because you get to do that.
Unless you wear a racist ass costume, and then fuck you.
Yeah, that's
we'll
true.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, we can talk about that in a little bit.
And, I mean, even saying, like, oh, Samhain is at this point during the year or whatever, it's the opposite for the Southern Hemisphere because it's all based on the nature that's around you. So, like, your solstices and equinoxes are going to be different, well, not, northern to southern hemisphere, but they're going to fluctuate a little bit. And then Samhain takes place in May in the southern hemisphere, so, because that's when it gets, like, fall-like. And it's the association of, you reflect on your ancestors, your family, the veil between the two worlds, quote-unquote, becomes thin. And that can mean whatever you want it to, but traditionally it's like dead and the living. So you reflect a lot on death and what it means to be alive. And, there's a lot of people go to graveyards, a lot of people, like, take part in the spooky, Halloween, everything, festivities. But it's a lot of the, like, get in touch with the spirits if you want. And if you don't believe in that sort of thing, then it's just a lot of fun to, like, appreciate those that have passed on and, have a dinner in their honor and appreciate being alive and look back on your year. It's very nice.
Well, and that's just an overarching theme with pretty much any kind of fall holiday that you have.
Because everything's dying.
Is going to have the harvest aspect to it, which we do with Halloween with all the pumpkins and everything.
Yep.
And then it's going to have the death aspect to it because you're heading into winter.
Right.
So that's where everything starts dying.
And
yep.
and I like how with pagan holidays, they actually used what was going on around you to go through things that are personal, and just kind of putting, like, here's the time when you think about this. I think it's kind of nice to have that visual. And I think it sits very well with humanity. We do very well with that when we have something that's like a metaphor for what we're going through in life. So I kind of like that. I dig it.
What I think is interesting is that so Halloween has its roots in, I guess, pagan and Gaelic and all these other fun things. Basically, it's just nature. And when the Christians were trying to convert everybody, the pagans were like, no, man, fuck you. We got our own shit going on here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Christians were like, oh, well, you can have that same shit going on in our church. And I guess it worked, because,
It still goes on today when they try to play rock and roll stuff and then sing songs to Jesus that come across as very sexual.
Christianity has always been trying to kind of like...
Rock is very sexual. You can't...
It's true, but Christianity has always tried to morph itself around the society with which it lived in, and
whatever's popular at the time.
It has sustained itself throughout history. It's not because it's forced itself, which is a huge thing what atheists try to say. It's because it has tried to morph itself into what is going on in the present day.
But the phenomenon that I find fascinating is that, so Halloween is a holiday that has pagan roots that Christianity hijacked, and then the people kind of took it back and made it more or less secular. Like, I don't think most people who celebrate Halloween really think about it having any sort of religious aspect to it anymore. And I think
Christmas has not done that yet.
And I was going to say, and I think, Christmas is pretty much the same thing. It also has pagan roots to it. It was hijacked by Christians. And I would say more and more people think of Christmas as just a holiday and not necessarily tied to religion.
Yeah, I mean, like, Yuletide is the winter solstice that is, coincides rather with, the Christmas time. And that's where you got the fucking Yule log.
Exactly.
No,
But what
that
Jesus. What I think is so funny is that you will definitely see some sects of Christianity that are all up in arms about Halloween because it has pagan roots, but you never see that about Christmas.
No.
Yeah.
You never see them going, this is blasphemous.
Because you have to keep the Christ in Christmas.
Well, yeah. Well, the other thing is too, because I spent the fall and early winter in Vienna 2 years ago, and of course, most of the traditions actually come from Germanic paganism, which is super fucking creepy, no matter what time of year it is.
Well, that's the Germans for you.
Yeah. I mean, people may or may not know about the Krampuslauf.
Oh my gosh.
And it's the best thing in the world, and
we
like,
should definitely
people,
talk about that.
I mean, it kind of ties into this too, because it's this tradition that, especially in the Alps, they had these men dressing up, one as Saint Nicholas and the other as the Krampus, or like the devil that punishes bad kids by basically smacking them with a stick. And
I imagine a giant black dildo, but that's just me.
Well, he carries a bundle of sticks, and he rattles at your door, and it's really scary, but kids love it. Like the people line up on this set path where they walk through the towns and stuff, and Saint Nicholas will give candy and stuff, and the Krampus is like following behind Saint Nicholas with the switch, and he's just like bah. But if you've ever seen these costumes, like, they're fucking freaky. These are really intricate, devilish costumes with, like, huge horns and, like, teeth and blood and, like, claws, and they're furry, like, Yeti things. And they're just, like, the ugliest things you've ever laid eyes on. But they pass these costumes down from generation to generation. It's, like, a really big thing for you to take up your dad's Krampus suit and go and smack kids with sticks.
What a tradition.
Cool. Speaking of scary costumes, I guess that will go back to Halloween. I've actually never dressed as anything scary for Halloween.
Vampire was a pretty standard go-to for me as a kid.
But I've never once done it. When I was a kid, we weren't allowed to because we went to Fall Festival, and then when I got older, junior high through high school, I didn't really do anything for Halloween. I think I went trick-or-treating once when I was in high school.
I generally dress up as myself for Halloween.
Oh man, costumes are like one of the best parts though.
Last year I dressed up as an evil little thing in honor of Jessica Alquist.
That's awesome.
So.
But yeah, I've never once dressed up as anything scary. I've never had the desire to do that. I guess if I found a scary comic book character that I really liked and felt I could emulate that in costume form, I would do it.
I always liked vampires growing up because they're invisible monsters. Like nobody knows that they're monsters, but they are.
And even if you know they're monsters, you're like, they're beautiful.
That's how I dealt with my gender at the time. So.
No.
Werewolves, yeah, werewolves would have been a good one too, but I guess that probably would have made more sense to some degree.
They only come out once a month.
Yeah.
Oh. It's basically a story that has to do with your period.
I should be the PMS werewolf next year.
Oh yes.
I just remembered, Shayra, that I mentioned, I think, before that I'd taken a class on supernatural in Slavic culture. So Slavic paganism, speaking of like how Halloween got really usurped by the Christian, missionaries, it really was one of those things where, like, all these different horrible, stories like Baba Yaga, or the Domovoy, or, the Budnoi, like, you hear about them because nobody knew what the hell happened when you went out into the woods. They just knew that you could get lost and eaten by something out there.
Baba Yaga.
And, yeah, a lot of them are cautionary tales. They had, like, this one thunder god, kind of like Thor, and when the Christians say, they're like, oh, no, that's actually just God. And all these other deities that you have, the one...
God killing and eating people in the woods.
Well, this God that you have that controls the weather, like, that's actually just God. And then, this goddess that you have of like, the hearth and the harvest, and fertility goddess, like, she's actually, this saint. And they're just like, oh, okay, so, like, this transition from paganism to Christianity for the Slavic people was very, very easy, because they were just like, oh, that's what we were thinking of this whole time. And the Christians were like, yeah,
it was
that's
God.
right.
Totally.
It was totally God and Satan. That's all that was. I think one of my favorite movies of all time is from the 80s. It's called Legend. It has Tom Cruise in it. And at the beginning, there is a woman, and a bunch of shit happened to her home, and she's like, bloomin' fairies! These bloomin' fairies. And I'm like, all I could think of when I was a little Christian child was, oh, those weren't fairies, you silly lady. And then now I look back and I'm like, I would just make fun of that little kid too. I would have blamed it on.
I like fairy stories a lot more than religious stories, personally.
I do too.
Fairy stories, like, are kind of creepy. A lot of them have to do with,
they are kind of creepy.
But they're still more interesting.
They steal children.
Like
and
Tam
replace
Lin.
them with their own. And
There's a tooth fairy that steals your teeth. Why does she want your teeth? I think that's creepy.
That could be turned
I think
into
she
a really creepy story.
I think she like grinds them up and makes spells out of them or something.
Of course, one of the things that Daniel and I have talked about is in a bunch of wars, teeth were very valuable because rich people would buy actual teeth and use them for their dentures. So
ew, someone else's teeth in my mouth.
Yeah, so but
I guess it's better than not having teeth.
It's real teeth as opposed to not having any teeth. So
yeah.
Basically they would go around during wars and they would just rip out people's teeth and turn them into dentures. And there's actually still dentures today that have war teeth in them.
War teeth.
But I have to think of like the tooth
That
fairy.
sounds like a metal band. War Teeth.
War teeth.
Or like it's Toki
Call
War
it,
Teeth
guys.
but plural.
Right?
None of you guys can take it.
Oh, now I need to do Death Clock or something.
Oh, we do.
Oh man.
Toki Am's the best.
Fucking love Death Clock.
Or like their happy birthday song.
Oh, that is my favorite. In fact, anytime anybody has a
For
birthday,
Murder
we play
Face.
that. Murder
Yeah.
Face. Like, okay.
Many years ago
here's
today,
Daniel and I.
something grew inside your mother.
I'm pulling
That
it
thing
up.
was you.
We're doing this. It works with Halloween, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. I can handle going to restaurants more if this is what they think. I would say it's extra exciting when I have Worf and another Klingon about ready to kill me surrounding me. It's a very exciting time. Hey, happy birthday to all of you out there who's a Secular Views Shethinker fan.
Yay, birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Here's your piece of
Happy
cake.
birthday.
Here's your piece of crazy psycho cake.
You're gonna die.
You're gonna die.
Oh
my
man.
gosh, where were we?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Do we
We
want
talked
to talk
about
about racist costumes?
Yeah, we can talk about racist costumes.
Hey, I just want to say, we're not going to talk about just racist costumes. We're just going to talk about costumes, but I think generally what we're going to talk about is racist costumes and women dressing up as sexy things costumes.
Yeah.
One, and the thing is, like, I don't mind dressing up sexy. Like, that's fine.
What
What's
bothers
creepy
me
is, like, making things that are non-sexual sexy.
Like Bert and Ernie?
Like,
they have sexy Bert and Ernie costumes.
I'm sure that they do.
Well, what bothers me...
Or like bees.
It's not
Ooh,
that...
sexy bee.
It's not that you're wearing a sexy costume, because all of my costumes that I make for myself, I make sexy. But I'm making them.
Yep.
When I go to try to buy a costume made for women, every single thing is, be a sexy blank. It doesn't matter what the fill in the blank is. It has to be sexy. Every single one.
Sexy hobo.
Man.
I don't see any costumes like that for men, other than the ironic ones where it gives you fake abs and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see that at all for men.
Hey, you want to
it's
know what's
really
more annoying? I have something that you guys probably haven't thought about. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and guess what they do for 10-year-olds, too, with their costumes?
Same old bullshit.
It's all sexy. Okay, here's the fucking bullshit that happened to me this Halloween. So Daniel and I are hanging out with my sister. We're talking about Halloween costumes for Kylie, and she starts talking about how Kylie recently went out and shopped with her father, who got the costume she wanted, because you know how dads are when they don't have the mom around to say, hey, don't do that. They're just like, oh, that's what you want, here you go. It was a very, very sexy costume in that there was a little skirt that basically would have her ass hanging out of the bottom of it. She's 10. She's 10 years old. No, you're not wearing that. How do I say that after he's already purchased it? I just say it, because fuck you. But they're even doing this for 10-year-olds now. And if you go look on any Halloween site. It's not about, like, age groups, because they will still separate it by age groups. But go look at the 10-year-olds. Their costumes are super sexy, and it's not even that I want to sit there and go, hey, you're 10, you're not supposed to be sexy. I'm just sitting there going, who the fuck is making these costumes so that I have to have this discussion with my daughter? It's bizarre.
Well, and didn't Walmart get in trouble for having, like, a sexy or diva costume for, like, toddlers or something?
Oh my god, I've never heard of that, but oh my god.
I seem to remember that, yeah. Somebody got in trouble. Kmart?
It was the Devil Diva costume.
Yeah!
And then there was another one that was related to it, and I can't remember what it was, but it's for, like, small children.
I'm on Party City. Alright? And the tabs at the top for Halloween costumes, they have baby toddler, boys, girls, teens, women's, men's, plus size, and then couples group costumes. And then they have one tab that's sexy costumes. So I click on the sexy costumes, and I click on the women's costumes.
Are there some with dudes?
No. All of the sexy costumes are women. Every single one of them is a costume for women.
Okay.
And then I go and look at the women's costume. The ones labeled just women's are also sexy costumes.
Why even bother having a separate tab?
I don't know. I was going
it's the illusion of choice.
I just, no.
Oh, this is my favorite.
See here, she's looking at it right now.
I'm looking at the girls.
Look at the young girls. This is my daughter's age. It's
have
all sexy.
They have a Hello Kitty costume. It's not even a costume.
You're not even dressed as Hello Kitty.
You just have Hello Kitty on a sexy outfit.
It's an outfit with Hello Kitty's face on it.
But it's a sexy outfit.
I mean,
with Hello Kitty's face on it.
I think it's cute, but.
And here's the thing.
It's not a Hello Kitty costume,
it's not a costume,
Here's the thing. I don't want to go around and say, oh, Kylie, you can't try to be sexy, do. I'm not going to go on that rampage.
Because she has to come to terms with her sexuality.
Right. But,
you know.
Daniel and I drew the line at her ass hanging out the bottom of her goddamn skirt. We're just like, I'm sorry, your butt can't hang out. So find a costume where your butt doesn't hang out, or figure out a way to make your butt not hang out at the bottom of the costume.
She can buy there are like
leggings or something.
Leggings or like
I'm fine with leggings.
She can wear that you can't see through. That
I'm fine with that.
Squirts are a wonderful thing.
Squirts.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean seriously, we see. Here's the thing: Daniel is 20 and having to deal with a 10-year-old stepdaughter, and that's hard because he's like, I remember hearing this shit like a couple years ago, and now here I am saying it to people. Yep. But he's like, no, seriously, you can't wear that. It's not happening.
You know what my mom made me as a costume that I like begged her to make me when I was 10? I was a soccer ball.
That's awesome, actually.
It was like a slightly round couple panel piece with a soccer ball pattern on it, and it had armholes, and it had a drawstring for your waist, and it had a drawstring for your neck, and you were just a soccer ball. And my mom went ahead and made 2 of them for our dogs, too. And some stupid idiot thought that when I was walking the dogs, like, around on Halloween, that they were cows. I was like, what the hell kind of cow do you know that looks like that?
Oh, and here,
That was, like, my favorite
I found
thing.
the Walmart costumes for toddlers.
Oh, God.
Toddlers.
Okay, so there's the Devil Diva and the Naughty Leopard. That's the name of the fucking costume.
For a
toddler.
Diva, I could see some plausible deniability there.
But Naughty Leopard?
Naughty? Like, what?
Naughty,
No.
if you call your toddler naughty, it's because they've done something wrong, not
No.
because they're trying to be sexy.
Oh my god.
Maybe they're talking about a leopard that's like Gunther and likes to break bottles.
Wow.
I don't know, but I found this Tumblr and I love it. It's called Fuck No Sexist Halloween Costumes, and basically all they do is they post pictures of the male version of the Halloween costume and the female version.
Which the male version eliminates the body.
Most of the pictures that this person posts are from the same. They're from a site that's selling these 2 costumes side by side.
Oh man,
And there's one.
my kids and I were playing a game of this earlier. Like,
There's one of pilgrims, and the man is actually dressed like the stereotypical idea of a pilgrim, and the woman is dressed like, it looks like a sexy maid outfit, but they put a little pilgrim hat and.
But she has an apple in her hand, which tells me she's like.
It's a pumpkin. It's a
It's
pumpkin.
But it's
baby
an apple.
pumpkin.
It's baby pumpkin.
But it's an apple. She's supposed to look like Eve in a way, with a pumpkin.
well, I'm fairly certain if she wandered into the pilgrims looking like
They
that,
would
she'd get
stone her?
stoned to death.
Or
So
For indecency.
something. And then
The
Mr.
potato
Potato
that's
Head.
my favorite one.
The male costume for Mr. Potato Head is actually a Mr. Potato Head. It's
Where your body is shaped like
Yes.
a potato.
The female version is a dress. It's just a skimpy dress with white gloves and a red purse, and the dress is brown with the face of Miss Potato Head on it.
But
That's
not
it.
even the face of Miss Potato Head.
It's not
It's
even
like
that, it's
just
just a
body
face.
parts.
Well, you can't
Face
look like
parts.
a potato, then you wouldn't be showing off your body.
And then the Angry Birds one, same thing. The male version is an actual angry. I mean, if I really wanted to go as Angry Bird, I would just buy the male costume.
Yeah, because it's
right?
actually a giant
Because
Angry
it looks
Bird
like an
head
angry
thing.
bird.
The other one is
A dress,
a dress with the Angry Bird face on it. That's
on
it.
the boobs.
And then the sailor one.
That
The
one's
sailor one's the worst.
The male version of the sailor is
An
a
actual
man.
sailor.
Yeah, it's a man dressed as a sailor. The female version is a woman with,
Dressed as a stripper.
With a bra and a mini skirt.
That's what it's a bra and a mini skirt, and she's wearing a sailor hat.
I don't know.
I don't have a problem with wearing a sexy costume, but don't try to play it off like it's a sailor. You're not dressed as a sailor. You're just wearing a sexy costume.
I mean,
Just call it what it
not
is.
for a boat, you're not, but
Yeah.
I'm like,
Maybe you're sailing for
just call it.
getting laid. Like, that's
don't-
fine.
Okay, I don't know what kind of weird marketing stunt this was, but because, like, once upon a time I do remember that they used to have, like, equally doofus-looking, like, normal Halloween costumes for men and women, but, like, around probably, you know, I went to, you know, sex parties and stuff, and where, like, they would, like, show you cool things, like costumes and role-playing stuff, and, like, this is the sort of costume that they would sell, but it's, like, explicitly for the bedroom, because it's, like, not even an, oh my gosh, like, that's so sexy, like, no, that's not practical. Like, your ass hanging out is not practical. I can't sit down anywhere. I can't walk anywhere. I can't, like, this doesn't cover me. I don't feel, like, physically comfortable because there's no clothing on me.
Yeah. I do have to say there's an example with the Riddler on here, but I actually kind of like the girl version of the Riddler costume. It's a cute dress.
But
I don't know that it really looks like the Riddler.
It doesn't really look like the Riddler, but I'll give it to them this way. At least it's plausible to imagine that if the Riddler were a woman, that she would be dressed this way. So
I think
give
Tina
them a bone
Fey.
there.
I think Tina Fey made fun of this the best.
What did she say?
She helped write Mean Girls, and she had the 3 mean girls dressed up as these sexy versions of
I remember that.
of things. I'll just say things because I don't even fucking know what the fuck they were doing.
They're supposed to be animals.
Well, yeah, they were different animals that were sexy, and then you have someone who's dressing up as an actual like scary bride person.
I have it if you want.
I love that. Yeah, go
In the
for it.
regular world, Halloween is when children dress up in costumes and beg for candy. In girl world, Halloween is the one night a year when a girl can dress like a total slut and no other girls can say anything about it. The hardcore girls just wear lingerie and some form of animal ears.
Doesn't she look great, honey? What are you? I'm a mouse. Duh.
Unfortunately, no one told me about the slut rule, so I showed up like this.
And she's dressed as a scary bride. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
I do have to say, it is kind of freeing that there is that one night where
You can't be slut-shamed?
you can't be slut-shamed.
Except you probably can be.
Probably. That's why I say, like, when I make my own costumes, I always make them sexy, but I'm making them. It's mine.
Yeah,
so.
but the other thing is I have to say, you're not 10.
I'm not 10 years old. And the costumes that I make, generally the source material is already sexy. I'm not gonna go be a sexy firefighter.
You're like,
and,
hey,
and
that's sexy.
I think the other annoying thing is that if you're buying
sexy corn.
No, there's a sexy lime on here. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, sexy lime, sexy beer.
Lime. Sexy. Oh, you're looking at it?
Yeah. The annoying thing I think is not that there are sexy costumes, but that there are only sexy costumes. If you're buying a costume for women off the rack, then it's going to be a sexy costume.
But if you want a real costume, you have to get a boy costume.
There's fucking sexy
Gumby.
I'm not even kidding you. But here's the worst one. Not only are they sexist, they can be racist at the same time.
Those are the worst.
Sexy Native American.
Those ones drive me fucking crazy.
And of course they have white models because what actual Native American
would wear that fucking thing?
They wouldn't because it's bullshit.
What do they call it? Polka
hotties.
Polka
hotties. Yeah.
It's so terrible.
You're bad and you should feel bad.
I have to scroll past this. I'm glad they're
It's kind of like the whole Redskins thing, but it's Halloween, so.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
They have a sexy Teletubby.
Ew, that's
not
creepy.
creepy. They have a sexy Michael Jackson, but I can kind of actually see that.
Yeah, I could see that one.
And actually, the sexy Michael Jackson is very well clothed.
Yeah, she actually is kind of well clothed.
Pretty much looks like Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
just saying.
Just with some leg.
Come on, fuck no sexist Halloween costumes.
But yeah.
Sexy pool table.
What's the, I'm trying to remember the other website we found that was about racist costumes.
Oh, I'm sure I can find it.
No, this has been a very common topic among feminists, and I find it funny that it's feminists that are talking about this, but the fact
it's
that
the same thing. Fuck no racist Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
No, it's wear a culture, not a costume is the one I'm thinking of.
But there are people that are doing the blackface, that are doing Native American garb and other types of racist costumes, and are like, hey, it's Halloween. I get to do this. And it's like, no, you don't get to be an asshole.
And here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie, I probably, when I was a kid, dressed up as an Indian or something when I was a kid. Because you just don't think about it. And to be honest, until it was pointed out to me when I was older, I was like, I didn't think about that. Like
I remember playing cowboys and Indians, but I mean, I don't
Some of these
remember...
costumes in here are like Chinese and like geisha and the gangsta costumes. I never would have worn something like that.
Or the blackface costumes.
Yeah,
the blackface is really bad.
There's a sexy Arab costume. Like what?
The nerdy Asian costume.
I made a video about cultural appropriation like not too long ago. It was one of my more recent videos, and it's like there are just certain things that like are on one side of the line, and then others that are like I don't know. Like you know, going to for example, Disney, or like Disney's a great example of
Like, if you
terrible
dress
cultural
up as
appropriation.
a Disney character, are you appropriating the culture, or are you dressing up as that character?
Right, and so like I had yeah, it's
See, it's
both.
both.
Because like I just don't really know what to say about it, because for example, I grew up in a very old, cold, white, original 13 colonies, New Hampshire, where like not only was it a common thing, but it also wasn't that big of a deal even among the minority friends that I had, and it was just like, yeah, no one thinks about that. And then conversely, no one would look twice if I dressed in a dirndl, but like I would not do that in Germany unless I was like actually going to Oktoberfest or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, if the whole thing came about one time among my friends, because I auditioned for Memoirs of a Geisha. They're like, but you're not Japanese. I'm like, yeah, neither are the lead actresses in this entire movie.
Oh, burn.
And so there was this whole stink about it, because like the Chinese community was not happy about it, and then like white people didn't understand why people were not happy about it, and then the Japanese community wasn't happy about it. I'm like, well, I hate to tell you this, but unfortunately there aren't a whole lot of you in the United States. Like, I'm sure that you could find like more Japanese actors, and you could, but like not enough to fill the entire thing. Like, you would have to go and get Japanese actors to fill that entire thing. Whereas like if you're filming in the United States and you're basing it out of a U.S. company, you're gonna have to use whatever's available, and whatever's available looks the same on the outside.
It's very true. When I was 16, I started a babysitting business, and 3 of the girls that I babysitted, they were half Japanese, half white. Their father was white, their mother was Japanese, and they were all very, very, very talented when it came to singing, acting, and other types of things. And the middle child, she was able to get into a Miss Saigon position, and she was about 5 or 6 years old when she got into that, and she was playing a boy character, and they cut her hair for it, and a lot of people were questioning why they would cut her hair so she could be a boy character. And it's like, do you know how rare it is to find anybody who is Japanese who could play these characters? And even though they were half, it didn't matter. It was still enough, to make it worth it. And she's also very talented, so
do you know why I didn't make Final Cut, by the way, in Memoirs of a Geisha? Why they told me I couldn't make, because I don't have a Chinese accent.
Are you freaking serious?
Yeah, they said you don't have an Asian accent, and I said, well, I can put one on. And they're like, no, they wanted quote unquote authentic Asian accent.
You're too white.
Yeah, I grew up too white.
Yep.
And that's basically what they told me, because I made the first round out of people. They called me back, and then I didn't get second callbacks because I don't have an Asian accent. And I thought that was like the funniest thing I'd ever heard.
You're
but
just
Memoirs
not
of a
Asian
Geisha,
enough.
yeah, exactly. Even though
You're
I was
Asian
born
enough
in
for
Hong
us to
Kong.
mock and make fun of and say horrible things about, but you're not Asian enough to get into this role. Sorry.
And
yeah, it was really weird, and like, for example, my mother is she was born in the late 40s, and she takes offense to things that I don't particularly take offense to, and it's like she doesn't like being called Oriental, and so like she hates like she hates seeing things that label us as Oriental, because Oriental is a rug, and you step on the rug.
Yeah. Say objects are Oriental, people are not Oriental.
Right.
Yeah. And like people, like, they still don't really understand why that's not like a PC term, or an okay term to use.
Hey, that's just what you are. Shut up.
And it's like, do you always have to be invited, quote unquote, invited by a member? And who's like a member enough to invite you? And do you have to be invited every time? Because I was asking about Indian hair jewelry, and like one of my friends has this beautiful Indian hair jewelry that goes down and like in links on your braid. And I was like, that's absolutely gorgeous. But I know when they're used, and I know when they're not. They're just basically for formal occasions. But I don't want to be that person that culturally appropriates, and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like, she knows, and her family knows, and like all of the people in our community, and you know, the Indian community that I knew her from, they know. But like, if someone else saw my pictures, they wouldn't know that I'd been invited by this member of this community of blah 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 blah, you know. And then it's like, and I also think it's funny that I can get away with that, you know, quote unquote, get away with that because I'm not white. Because if I do that and if I'm dressed in yukata or kimono, or I, put on a sari, no one's going to look twice, but they would if I were white.
I think it's because culture appropriation hurts even more when it's done by privileged white people.
And white people are typically, at least in the West, we're the ones who historically have been the imperialists who went and actually literally erased cultures or like appropriated them when it was to our advantage, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And are more likely to just be completely oblivious about the idea of cultural
to like posting
appropriation.
Pictures, I think if you were to like make a specific album and explain in the description, I was invited to this thing and here are pictures of me and the other people with me, and something like that, like place it in context. Like outside of that context, I can understand, yes, of course, not wanting like strangers to look at it and not know that you were invited to take part. But I think if you place it in that context and say, hey, here's the description of the event, here's where you can find more information of the event, all this stuff, and then post the pictures of you and everybody else there, I think that's okay, but then again, I'm a white person, so.
Yeah, it's interesting too that you have to like have that big giant disclaimer that's like, I am not culturally appropriating. Was okay at this time. But the other thing was too, we got talking about belly dancing because a bunch of my friends are belly dancers, and they're not Turkish and they're not Indian and they're not
How
Egyptian.
dare they?
And of course, and then it's like, but like they get a lot, like, you're a racist, you're culturally appropriating because that's not yours. It's like,
that's what Miley Cyrus is getting right now. They're saying that all the stuff that she's doing is trying to be
trying to be black.
She's trying to be black, and there is a lot that is true to it, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that when we borrow from what is popular, are we borrowing from what is popular because it's popular, or are we borrowing from what is popular because it is such and such race? And I think it's because it's popular and you want to make money. I really think that's what it boils down to.
And I think that is, I actually have a huge problem with that. I'm going to borrow from this culture because it's popular and I can make money off of it. That's part of imperialism. That's part of going in and taking the culture when it suits you. And the other problem I have with Miley delving into black culture is the reaction she gets from other people. A lot of it is, oh, well, she's young and she's just trying to figure herself out. But when black people do it, they're thugs. You see what I mean?
They're trashy.
She's taking on parts of the culture, but she's not taking on the stigma. She's not taking on
That
has a lot to do with the fact that people have known her for a long time, as far as the media
she's
and
Hannah Montana
industry has known her for, and this is why she's getting
shit.
People
have known Nicki Minaj for a long time, and look at the shit
not when
she
was a little kid though. And the thing is like she gets shit for it, and she gets not shit for it. So I mean, there's perks and there's problems, but no matter what, that's how a woman has to deal with anything.
That's true.
There's perks and there's problems.
She's gonna
she
get
just
shit
has
on
different
no matter
perks
what.
and problems. And the thing is what I do like about what she does try to borrow is good music, and the way that music can be put together in a catchy way that gets stuck in your head and makes you think about it all the time, and makes you, when you're going through something, think about her lyric. And I know she's trying to capture that, And she is still young, and I think she really will get to that point where she's making amazing music. I mean, not that she's not right now, because that was a huge popular hit. So.
A lot of people keep shitting on Wrecking Ball, and I listened to it with Shara for the first time.
It's not a bad song.
I'm like, I can jam out. I hear it all the time.
I like it. I didn't realize I didn't even realize it was that song until it got to the chorus, because I hadn't heard it yet, and Shara was just playing it on her iPhone or something, and I was sitting there like, going along with it, and then I was like, oh, this is Wrecking Ball. Why are people shitting on this? It's not bad.
It's a good song. And
then
it's the imagery they're shitting on.
It is.
So.
It's the fact that she got naked on a wrecking ball. But the point is what she's trying to convey is that she went through some shit with her past relationship. And this is something that I think a lot of artists have tried to do, is take things that are going on in their life and make it into a song. That's how Adele became huge, was taking the shit that was happening in her life and turning it into something amazing.
Taylor Swift.
So, and she made a shit ton of fucking money just saying, my life sucks, I'm gonna set the rain on fire, and my life sucks, and everybody's like, okay, she's awesome, here's tons of money, throw it at you, and everything's good. There's nothing wrong with taking the shit that's going on in your life and turning it into a song, and that's really what she did. That's what she did, and people are mad at her about it. And the fact that she got naked in her video, it kind of goes along with what she's saying in the lyrics. So pay attention, and you might understand.
I have a question to you guys, because I still don't really know what to make of this, and going back to, like, costumes and cultural appropriation and stuff. So, like, this came up at prom one time, and for all three of the proms that I ended up going to, I wore cheongsam, like the high collar, like Mandarin collar, and traditional. They were ones I actually bought in China, and there were a couple of girls that I saw who wore either like modernized cheongsam or like traditional cheongsam, and they were like white as white can be, and it just like it didn't hang right on them. It just like they didn't really know how to move in them and things like that. And beyond that, it looked really strange, and not just because it was a white girl wearing that dress, but it was like their dimensions weren't meant for the dress. But it's like, as weird as it made me feel, I feel like I couldn't really say anything about it, because it's not like those things, unlike the hair jewelry I was talking about.
This is not your thing.
Right. It wasn't like those dresses mean anything particularly important, and it's like, it's a pretty dress, like, that's it. But it still feels really weird. And on the other hand, like, Lolita is a huge thing in Japan. And it's like, you're not white in whatever sense. And, like, they have this huge thing about, like, Western schoolgirl outfits and Western, like, princess outfits. And
the Japanese have never taken over white people. I think it goes back to, you have to put it also in its historical context. It's not just that you're doing something that another culture did. It's that you're doing something another culture did that the people you are culturally and racially related to have subjugated in many points in history. It's like, it's very hard to separate that out from that history, and I think it's a very delicate line.
It is, because it's like,
I just choose not to walk it, because I don't think I'd be able to do it well.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I mean, it's like a lot of my Russian friends feel very strongly about that sort of thing, like their national dress and whatnot, especially because like when it came down to my Russian brother, my best friend, he and his mom were doing something, and his mom is like notoriously racist against Germans, for like understandably. She kind of makes these like really left-handed digs at her own people sometimes, but she like they went paintballing one time, and they went to Army Surplus store to like just get some like camo for their paintballing, and I wish I could explain to you the face that came over her when she realized that the camo that she had got for her and her husband and her kids were German. She immediately was like, I need to take the seam ripper to this and take the flags off. And I was like, I don't blame you. And then she just went on about how horrible the Germans are and how blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And I just didn't want to say anything because I'm like, it's true. And, you know, World War II and everything. But, like, the Russians also were, like, not great to the Germans either. And I had nothing to say about it because I'm like, I can't get involved in this.
But yeah, I think a lot of it comes down, like, with costumes and stuff, like, are you wearing it because you're trying to, like, if you're dressed like a geisha or something bullshit like that, I think you kind of know that you're trying to basically appropriate culture.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you just think is pretty, you know, I guess you can make
like
that...
Queen Amidala.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Queen Amidala steals a lot from, you know,
Geisha
different
stuff.
cultures
Yeah.
and whatnot. But I think at least it's taking that
But
and
you're being a
making something
character.
unique, and
That's why I say I think there's a difference between dressing up as a race and dressing up as a specific character.
Yes.
Because I've dressed up as an anime character before. I wasn't saying,
Yeah, I mentioned that too.
Look at me, I'm a stereotypical Japanese person. I was saying I am this specific character from this specific
Very,
thing.
very big difference. In my opinion, there's a very big
because
difference.
it's like, if you're gonna dress up as a Mexican, what are you gonna wear? How are you going to dress up as that without being racist, without being stereotypical? You can't.
I actually, for a multicultural dance thing we did, I can't remember, some church
those
function.
Things sometimes fall so flat on their face.
I know, but I did.
Especially when they're
I
organized
was
by white
the
people.
quote unquote Mexican girl, and
Oh,
basically what I wore
This is
was basically what I wore was typical, you know,
National
the
dress?
traditional national dress. I
Okay.
didn't wear anything that was like, oh, let me mock this culture.
I
It
could
was like
see
this
where
is
Poncho
what-
and sombrero.
Right, I did not wear a sombrero at all. It was actually something of part of their tradition, and so I like those kinds of things, but I don't think that has anything to do with dressing up and representing a group. It has to do with learning about said group and understanding their traditions, and I like that.
Yeah,
part.
I can see, like, there are specific, like, traditions that come with specific dress. That's a little
Right.
different.
See,
Only a
there's
little bit. I still feel uncomfortable with it.
It's
Right.
still a way,
Right.
but it's a way of coming outside of your comfort box and learning
Yeah.
about a different culture, and I think that is awesome and special. But when you are doing it to be like, look at me, I'm an Indian, it's like, oh God, stop. Just
Yeah.
stop, you're embarrassing everybody.
Especially seeing as how Native Americans in the United States are still horribly oppressed.
Yes.
Like, they have
Yeah,
their
and
goddamn
dwindling.
children stolen
And dwindling,
from them.
and they have a lot of shit going on in their lives. They do not
They
need
have a
your
lot of
fucking
problems that are, like,
Pocahontas shit.
they are directly related to how they're treated
yeah.
by the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, just no, don't do it.
Don't do that, it's not good.
It's like I was talking to some people who like are big into the otaku kind of culture, and they're white as white can be, and they're like they genuinely do want to learn about, you know, Japanese culture and whatnot. But I'm just like, I can't help but think that this line between like the sincere desire to learn and, you know, the humble desire to learn gets really like muddled with the cultural appropriation thing.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Like, that's so. I mean,
It depends. Are you doing it for Halloween, or are you doing it for a particular event that is supposed to embrace learning about different cultures? I think
Halloween.
it
And are
depends
you
on the
being
context.
taught by somebody of
Yeah,
that
if
culture?
someone is if
well,
someone
then there's
is
like
trying to go,
that
hey, this
invitation
is how it works.
thing. Like, for example, like one of my ex-boyfriends is fluent in Japanese, and he's as white guy you could imagine. Like, he's Polish. And yeah, I mean, he already has a very, like, I would say, stereotypical, you know, Japanese affect. He's very delicate, and he's very soft-spoken, and very, like, driven. But, so he assimilated perfectly well when he went to Japan and lived there for 10 months. But, like, on the other hand, it's like, I can sort of group him into that now. Like, it's been re-fenced around, so, like, you know, Calvin has this, this aspect of him that, you know, Japanese is part of his life. But then there are other people that it's like, whether it's for, okay, you know, like Halloween is one thing because it's like you are dressing up as something you are not. It's Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Halloween, like, aside, but, like, things where, like conventions, those kind of, like, aren't really this or that. Like, a lot of conventions really do, like, have the whole multicultural want to, like, learn about this, that, and the other. We're just here to have fun and whatever. And you're a character, but you're not, like, a race. But you are, but you're not. That's where I get a little bit weirded out. Especially when people, like, they dress as their, original characters, or they modernize or make their own, a character that's already existing. And it's just like, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah. It's kind of like one of those things, it's almost like one of those microaggressions where it's like, it makes you uncomfortable and you can't pinpoint why.
I will pinpoint exactly how it works, okay? I'm not from Texas. I'm from California. Lived there most of my life. Was raised there most of my life. I just recently moved to Texas. But I found that whenever anybody tries to represent a person from Texas and they're like, well, by golly, I have my cowboy hat on and my boots and I have cows. I'm like, that's not what Texans do. You're a piece of fucking shit. Fuck you. I don't know what kind of piece of shit fucking motherfucker you are, but that's not what Texans are doing. Like, I get mad about it, and I'm not even a Texan. I'm, like, mad about it.
I do that, but I've lived in Texas my whole life. I was born here.
You're just mocking stereotypes at that point. But that's not what Texans are like. Like, I live in Texas. Do you know how often I see cowboy hats? Less often than I see it in California.
It's like everybody... The only way you're gonna see tons of people doing that is if you, like, go to the stockyards. And that's all you go to are Fort Worth stockyards.
You have to go to specific places to see that kind of shit. And
then West
it's
Texas
not
to
common.
see cows.
Not normal. When you go to the store, when you go to Kohl's, you go to the grocery store or whatever, you're not gonna see a cowboy hat man. That's a stereotype. And if I saw a bunch of people like, hey, I'm a Texan, I'd be like, no, you're not.
Pride.
Because I'm pretty sure Texans don't look like that. So
just start whistling Walker, Texas Rangers.
and have fake punch noises when they're fighting somebody.
Roundhouse kick to the face.
Roadhouse.
Yep.
Roadhouse.
All right. So it is Halloween, so we should talk about scary stories and urban legends a little bit.
Do you want to share your scary story about when you were accused of witchcraft?
Oh my goodness. Yes. The Dirty Nerdy got in trouble at school for being a witch.
Well, with a name like Dirty Nerdy.
Yeah, I know. They were like, you have a weird nickname. You must be a witch. No, all right. So when was this? I was in 6th grade. I'm like 11, I think. And I was new to school. We just moved out to this little country town, like where I lived for the next 10 years of my life.
Country town counts Texas.
Yes.
Where everybody wore cowboy hats.
I'm not gonna say which one. It'll pinpoint me.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's how small it was.
It's a small town called Texas.
Anyway, so we had just moved out to the small town, and I'm starting a new school with brand new people, and it's terrifying. Like, it's already nerve-wracking to move as a little kid, but it's even more nerve-wracking to move to a small town where everybody there, almost everyone there, had known each other their entire life. Like, there are no strangers. I mean, it's not a super small
Except
town.
for you.
Yeah, but really, there aren't any strangers there. You know everybody. You know who everyone is. And so, I'm having a hard time making friends, like you do. And I made this friend Andrea, and she was really cool. And we went on sleepovers and stuff. And then she had this other friend Elizabeth. And anyway, so. At one point, like, we had this other friend, I can't remember her name, and at one point during recess, because they just put us in a field, I think they had jump ropes out there that you could get, I don't know.
Go be a kid, run around.
Run around for a while. So, you put a bunch of, like, middle school kids out in a field,
you're gonna do stupid shit.
You're gonna do stupid shit.
I played fairies.
Well, that's pretty much what we started doing. We like, there were 4 of us, so we were like, oh, there's 4 of us, let's be witches. And I did not know this at the time, but my friend Elizabeth, I believe her mother was Wiccan or something. And I guess Elizabeth just did not understand the religion at all. But basically, she wanted to be a witch, like a real witch. And at this point in my life, I had never heard of Wiccans. I thought witches were just this mythical thing. I didn't think they were real, and I mean, at least not with special powers and whatnot.
Poof.
You know? And so, like, I'm just playing this as a game, and one day they bring this book, and it was like a blank, like, journal thing. And
Daniel had one of those, and he filled it out.
It was,
when
yeah,
he was,
they brought this book, and they called it our spell book.
Yeah.
And so we were gonna make up spells and put it in the book, and make up potions and put that in the book. And I was like, this is so much fun. And anyway, so we all put our names in the first page, but then I never saw the book again after that day, and I found out later that apparently they'd been having sleepovers on the weekend. Well, I knew they were having sleepovers on the weekend, but I wasn't allowed to go because my mom hadn't met my friend's mom or something. She had to make sure they're Christian too. But yeah, so I wasn't allowed to go to the sleepovers, and so I didn't know that they were filling out this entire book with like potions and spells that they just made up. You know, they didn't have the internet. They were just making this shit up off the top of their head. And it was pretty obvious, like, that they were making it up. So,
They're
maybe...
like, and a head of a Barbie doll.
Yeah, I know, right? And, so maybe a month goes by, we're just, like, playing these games, and I pretend I have telekinesis and stuff, and they're like, ooh. And then one day, they pulled us out of class, like, everybody. They pulled everyone out of their classes into the hallway. And we're like, we're searching lockers. And I was like, all right, you know, whatever.
That's cool. Whatever.
I don't have anything in there. I have all my books in my bag, so there's nothing in my locker. And but then I realized they're supposed to be randomly searching lockers. That's what they said. But they were only searching ours and like a couple other kids down the hall, but they only searched ours. And I was like, what's going on? Why are they searching our locker? And I saw them like, I guess my friend had brought the book to school. I didn't know she was bringing it to school, but she did. And it had all our names in the front cover. So later on in the day, they pulled all of us into the office, like, individually. They would just call us over the loudspeaker or whatever, say, Dirty Nerdy, come to the office. So I go in there, and this is just from my memory, and granted, I was 11 years old, and I was terrified, so it might have gone a little different, maybe not, I don't know. But I was by myself with the vice principal, which was a little weird, because I'd been in trouble already once that semester, and I wasn't by myself then. And I want to preface this, before this year in school, I'd never gotten in trouble before. Like, I wasn't a kid that got in trouble a lot. It just kind of happened that semester. Anyway, so I'm in there, and the vice principal's like, brings out this book, and it's like, are you a witch? And I'm like, what?
Witches aren't
And
real.
she starts asking me all these questions about what we do during recess and everything. And then she said that, she basically started insinuating that we were casting spells on the other kids in school, I guess. And
wow.
At one point, I was answering all her questions honestly, like, yeah, we play around like that. Yeah, I'm supposed to be the Witch of the East, or I don't know. We just made up shit. We don't know.
Yay, imagination. Imagination.
I mean, anybody listening to this 11-year-old girl talk would know that we were just making up shit. That there's no way.
Like you do.
You know, there's no way that we think this is real, or that anybody who actually is a witch has informed us of what witches actually do.
Damn Harry
and
Potter.
then she just starts looking like more and more uncomfortable as I talk to her about it, and then I suddenly realize that I'm in trouble. And she starts questioning me about like what exactly kind of spells we do and everything, and I just looked at her, and I guess maybe I shamed her a little bit and made her more angry, but I just kind of looked at her. I was like, "Man, do you actually believe in witches?" And after that, she just was like,
they float.
She just like had me leave the office.
Nice.
And then later on, they brought us all four in together, and apparently, like, the little girl, the friend of mine whose mom was Wiccan or pagan, actually believed this stuff, but you know, the rest of us were playing it like it was a game. This little girl was actually like wanting to believe it. So of course the vice principal's like gonna believe her.
Yep.
That we're actual witches. So she sends a note home explaining the situation, and I read the note, and they can't get us in trouble for being witches.
Because that would be
Religious
religion.
discrimination.
Obviously. Yeah. They got us in trouble for having a student club without a faculty sponsor. And I was like, because apparently we were having our meetings on school grounds, even though we had our meetings during recess, and we're friends anyways. What are they gonna go around recess and start policing what people
There's more
talk
than
about?
3 of you. You need a supervisor.
Exactly. It's like I didn't think of it at the time because I was terrified of the reaction from my mom. But over the years, every time I think about it, I just get so pissed off because there were kids who would sit together during lunch and have Bible study, or they would sit together during recess and have Bible study. There were kids who sat together during recess and played Pokemon. There were kids who sat together during recess and played all sorts of shit. And they weren't considered
Magic the
clubs.
Gathering?
I don't think at that age we were playing Magic. I think everyone was playing Pokemon.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It wasn't until
Magic's
the
awesome.
next year that people were playing Magic, when I got into 7th grade. But I just can't believe that I got in trouble for being a witch. And the thing is,
You're not the first.
I know, right? I actually tried to forge my mom's signature on the note because I was so scared of my mom. I was like, oh God, she is not going to back me up on this. And
You're
I
actually
tried-
not the first kid who forged a note either.
I was so terrified, and it was an obvious forgery. It was so obvious.
Oh, see, my
And
daughter's damn good at it.
Oh
so.
man, the vice principal came out of the office, like they called me to the office, and she came out and she was like, "Do you expect me to believe this shit?"
That's kind of funny. You suck at
And,
forgery. Don't do that for a living. You get an F in forgery.
So yeah, all the other kids were just gonna get a note to take home. I got ISS for a day. For
Wow.
my signature. And I tried to explain to her, I was like, please, I'll take the ISS. Please, just don't call my mom. And she was like, no, seeing as how you so don't want her to know, it must have been true that you thought you were a real witch. And so your mom needs to know about this. And I'm just like, And I really, really wish that I had known my rights back then. Like, I so wish I had.
Kids don't know their rights. Most adults don't know their rights.
This is why I'm going to make sure that my fucking kids know their goddamn rights.
Oh
so
gosh,
they can assert them.
I will tell you this. Daniel continuously tells Kylie that she doesn't have to stand for this Pledge of Allegiance. She doesn't have to say it. And she's like, you know what? I don't feel like going down that hill right now. So
like, I don't care.
Well, that's all the time that we have.
Yeah.
Join us next week when we talk about neurodiversity and psychology.
Yes.
Woo.
Yay!
Be sure to like Shethinkers and Dirty Nerdy on Facebook and follow us on Spreaker and Twitter. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Audible.com. For your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. And now, in the interest of being fair and unbiased, here is today's counter-argument.
Individualism of feminism has been devastating to this country. Dave, I'd say you ought to say no to the Girl Scout cookies, too. I mean, I don't want to support lesbianism. I don't want to support Planned Parenthood, and I don't want to support abortion. And if that be the case, I'm not buying Girl Scout cookies. Now, I suppose if you take a big, fat black magic marker and say, here, give me that box, and you start marking out all of the references to the Girl Scouts of America on all the boxes, then maybe we're not promoting that organization anymore, and I'd be willing to buy it, okay? Maybe so. Maybe it's not food offered to idols anymore if I have the opportunity to scratch out references to the Girl Scouts of America on the boxes of the Girl Scout cookies offered to me at Safeway.
Those are some pretty expensive cookies you're eating, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And you have to, at some point, a Christian has to say, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof.
I understand that. I understand that, but I
and
just
where
don't.
You spend your money, actually, it does count.
It does, and I don't want to promote a wicked organization that is, according to its own website, doesn't promote godly womanhood. It just doesn't. I don't see anything that promotes godly womanhood. The vision of the Girl Scouts of America is antithetical to a biblical vision for womanhood, friends. It's antithetical to it. Please, I beg of you, do not buy Girl Scout cookies. Please, I beg of you. Stop buying Girl Scout cookies. And if you do, take a big black magic marker and cross out every reference to Girl Scouts of America on all the signs and all the boxes, because we don't want to promote that organization.
Well done. Here come the test results. You are a horrible person. That's what it says. A horrible person. We weren't even testing for that.